good elevator music. Oh, dude, nice. It dropped down to 170 viewers.
Here we go. All right, here we go.
Perfect timing.
Last run.
Hello.
All right, got Vanny with 117. And I think we're pretty much ready to go. So whenever you're ready, Vanny, go ahead and
All right,
count it down.
It'll be on
Pretty
go.
much ready to go. So whenever you're ready,
We're
Vanny.
gonna be Egghead,
Count it down.
Unicorn Man here. So let's go.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I'm good to just ramble, right?
Yeah, go on.
Nice.
Yeah, go on.
Yo, I didn't crash. All right, that's a good sign. So that second cutscene there has a tendency to crash since I'm on fast disk speed. I'm on a 90K PS2 as well, the model number. So that's pretty much the only cutscene I have to worry about, luckily. But yeah, so this is Spyro Year of the Dragon, 117 percentage points. I'm going to be collecting 20,000 gems, the most out of any of the games. Oh, I missed a gem already. And then 150 eggs. That's egg number 1. We got a long ways ahead, boys and girls and friends. Alright, so coming up right here, I'm going to be going for a proxy off of a dead body. It's not a huge deal if I miss it. Luckily in 117, I have the option to do some proxy routes, but they aren't required. They'll save maybe at most like 5 or 6 seconds each. That's not a huge deal. So here we go. Well, I got a proxy, not the correct proxy. I wanted to go up, but that's okay. So anyway, a proxy is basically just like this anti-softlock mechanic, for those of you who are unaware and haven't been watching this marathon. Basically, I kind of just put my hitbox someplace it's not supposed to be, and so I don't get stuck in it, the game violently ejects me from it. That's basically the gist. There are 3 types of proxies. I'll point out the other 2 as we get to them. So, we're coming up here on the first, like, I don't know, big trick, sequence break, whatever you want to call it. This is going to let me skip into one of the side character areas without having unlocked her. So this very first one, I'm going to try not to crash the game, because that can happen. Well, I don't normally do it like that, so that's probably why I died. I'm going to also try not to die again. That was a good meme. Alright, one more try. So for this game, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that the portal hitboxes bleed out beyond what you can actually see. As you saw, I was nowhere near where the actual portal hitbox was, because if I actually entered the portal hitbox directly, I would have crashed the game. So, I also kind of permaflopped there, not a huge deal. Well, I mean, it kind of is a huge deal. I breezed that over that. And you don't normally die there. It was a gimmick, a fluke. But anyways, so this is the first side character of 4 or 5, depending on how you want to look at it. New to this game, this is Sheila. She is a kangaroo. She is pretty simple in her movements, nothing too exciting. She can double jump and has this super jump. She can also kick and has a head bash. The main speed tech really to her is that when I'm doing a super jump like that, I can kick towards the top of it to kind of cut my height. And that's going to allow me to, you know, just be a little bit more optimal in what I do. So you're going to see right here. So I could have gone much, much higher there, but I didn't want to because it wastes time. This is a speed_run. So take that as you will. But yeah, so normally, casually at least, what you would do is you would have to go through, collect enough gems to pay money bags in the overworld, and then that would unlock Sheila, as well as all the other side characters as you got to them. But the issue with that is, well, it's fastest to go to this level first, and you kind of need to get in. But also when you pay money bags to free side characters, there's this really long cutscene that plays that I don't want to watch because it's slow. Imagine that. So up here, I would have landed on that first pillar if I had gotten the proxy to shut me up. And like I said, that would have saved maybe like 4 seconds, something like that. It's probably one of the more significant proxies, I'd say, in the run. The others are really very minute in their time save. So, one thing about Spyro 3 is, for the first 3 homeworlds, you have to make it to the end of the level and get the end of level egg in order to kind of progress in the story. And this just gets you characters that will help you go and make the vehicle that transfers you to different homeworlds. So, right here you're going to see the first end of level egg. His name is Sanders. And this guy's gonna make a joke about it. See, he says that's the ugliest chicken he's ever seen. I think that's pretty funny. Colonel Sanders. Chicken. Alright, so coming up we have lizard skateboarding, as well as like a fickle trick that I'm gonna hope works, because it saves like 2 seconds. Cool, I got it well enough. So, sometimes when you first get on a skateboard, you have like this weird ass momentum that pushes you off to one side, and I kinda got it. But basically, if that doesn't happen, then I can go along the right side like you saw. Oh, okay. And I can actually get those 2 gems. And that saves about 2 seconds over getting all of those gems at the exact same time. Whereas here I split them 2 and 2 with each iteration of the skateboarding challenge. So this route I picked up from watching Nitrovsky. He's another runner of this game, as well as the person who did the tasks for this category. It turned out really, really well. So if you haven't seen that, I suggest going to YouTube and watching Spyro 317% tasks by Nitrovsky. But yeah, so this run, or this route I'm doing is comparable to a slightly harder route that saves a whopping 1 second. And that's the hard route that Parso Fish uses, another top runner. Stop streaming? What did I do? But anyway, so originally you wouldn't have to get these gems, the older route, but like I said, this newer fickle trick that doesn't work all the time, you kind of split it in half. Yo, is that the shameless plug for the task? Good on you, man. Okay, so for this last skateboarding challenge, I have a timer, obviously, and then I'm also not allowed to crash. So I'm gonna be careful not to do that, because crashing is dumb. And this is Spyro. There's a little bit of a manipulation here I'll go for, which I didn't get. It's been a while since I've actually gotten it. But you can cause that lizard to walk back towards you if you've kind of veer off to the left a little bit. It saves you like a second maybe. We are memeing? Dude, I can totally relate. I love memes. In all caps. Alright, so coming up we have the second level, which it has some interesting things to it. I'm going to attempt a jump that's... It used to be primarily used in any percent, and it's since started bleeding into 100 egg and 117. It's called the any percent jump. It's a stored momentum jump. It basically lets you get to the end of the level immediately, just about, and it saves about 2 seconds in 117. Not the most worth it, but it's a pretty hype trick, so I'm gonna give it a shot and hope I don't balls it up. I ballsed it up. Alright. So now I'll go for the backup, just because I don't want to waste any more time, because I've already died twice. That's pretty bad. Oh, I haven't done this in a long time. I think you do it from here. Alright, so, not a big deal. I'm gonna enter this portal and go to Sunseeds early. And basically, once I leave this area, I'll be at the end of the level. So, Sunseeds is pretty straightforward. You just gotta guide these 3 sunglasses dudes into a big soup pot, and they're gonna make a big giant sun. It's a little bit more complicated when you try to go fast, like I'm gonna try. So, we'll see how that goes. There's an even faster route that I don't go for, in which you can flame charge jump that second guy right there, and get those gems along the way, instead of having get the gems after. Very similar to how this third Sunseed is set up. So this one's a little bit tight, just because of the routing. And then for this last part. But I got it, cool. So right there, you saw me jump, and then flame. That wasn't quite known about for a while. Usually, most people still do this. Most people do a flame charge jump to try to hit that Sunseed, but I've never been a fan of that, so I started doing that. Just kind of randomly found out it worked. Pretty much like most things that I end up doing. So coming up, we're gonna go face some Ghastlies, but we're not gonna catch them. We just really need the egg. It's a pretty straightforward challenge, but the end of this challenge, like when I leave the area, is very important for this route. And you'll see why later, in a minute. So, you heard that thief? I'm going to try to get him early, right here. I kind of set him up in the way I moved, and at the end, I moved in a certain way so I wouldn't disturb him, so that I could just run off and get him early like that. So now it's just some simple gem collection. But right when I leave this area, you're going to notice me jump very, very slightly. And what that's going to do is allow me to have momentum and let me gain control of Spyro earlier as I'm falling out of the portal. And that's going to let me do this little skip. It's going to save a decent amount of time. So, that is most certainly not intended. There's a convoluted way to get around to there. But I took that way, because that was fast. This is a tough jump. Not really, but I fail it more often than I'd like to admit. At this point, now I'm just kind of clearing up the rest of the gems and the eggs in the level. And then I'm going to start... After this level, I'll be heading into Sheila's level. As I mentioned before, it's the first side character. And like I said, I don't want to pay money bags, so I'm actually going to try to skip in to her homeworld, her level. And to do that, I'm going to take advantage of a thing called Swim in Air. And the fact that the portals all bleed everywhere. I'll get more into that in a minute. It looks like I got a nice cycle. Sometimes those flames will start and you'll have to jump over one or two of them. Mainly just one. But it's really not a huge deal if that does happen. So I'm going to grab this gem that I skipped on my way into this level because I have to wait for Hunter to come over to give me an egg. So if you saw that and you're wondering like if I was going to get it later, yeah, I was going to get it later. And then we try to position ourselves so we don't have to move, but I didn't get it.
Oh,
blood type or the portals? I don't know. It's a good question. Alright, so this trick here is going to let me get to a swim in air. This is a whirlwind bypass. It's a very important trick. And I got the swim in air. Cool. It's really easy to mess up. And it's a pretty important trick. All the categories use that trick at its most fastest, I'd say. So, what I did with there was a swim in air. And the way swim in airs work is that if I can kind of clip a water plane, as you kind of saw me do right there while I'm charging, it will allow me to swim as it thinks I'm entering water, but I'm not, so
Thanks again.
I can just swim wherever. It's a really cool trick. We'll use it a lot more. Alright, so this is Sheila's Alp. Sheila kind of gets back after being encased by the sorceress and moneybags. She returns to her frat friends, these goats over here, to find out that they're locked out of their homes. And so basically you just have to escort them back. Pretty straightforward. You just have to kill all the enemies in the way, and then they start moving. And there's a good amount of RNG in where the enemies are, and that's going to come into a little bit more play after the second egg, because there's going to be a bunch of enemies at that point. And they're all going to be like spawning out of these mushroom houses. More in a bit. Pretty simple stuff here, just going clockwise around rooms. Maybe counterclockwise, I don't remember what I did before. I missed the gem, it's not a big deal. Oh, now it is. So, one very important thing for a game like this is to have some gem counts memorized. And they just help for like added security and knowing that you could leave a level like without having to see the level complete symbol pop up. And then also if you miss a gem, it'll help you kind of figure out where it was that you might have missed it. So right there after that egg, I know what gem count to look for. So I took note of that. One thing worth noting is that these enemies don't actually have gems that they drop, and that's because they can infinitely spawn, and developers just decided that they weren't going to have a hassle of trying to code that. So only the houses that they spawn from will drop gems, and you'll see that a couple more times in the run later, especially in Sparks levels. There's a nice bit of movement here at the end of the level. I'm gonna try to go for it. Well, didn't quite get it, but it's not quite what I was talking about. You can actually skip having to come back down here, even though this drops one of the gems down there. Well, I fell down anyways, not a big deal. That little ending is pretty satisfying to get done correctly. Coming up in this next level, Molten Crater, we're going to have the next proxy. As I mentioned before, there was a dead body proxy. Now we're going to introduce the animation proxy. I'm going to go for it really fast at the beginning. If I don't get it, like I said, it's not a big deal. Basically, for the animation proxy, I put Spyro's hitbox where this enemy is going to be in like his next frame or so. And again, the game doesn't like that, so it's just going to violently eject you. And interestingly enough, this proxy, if I get it, is going to allow me to skip moneybags. Skip paying him. So we'll see what happens. Cool, I got it. So now, like I said, these portals bleed a lot. So I entered it from pretty far away. So basically what's going to happen now is I'm going to do the level essentially backwards. And that also cuts my moneybags paying instances down to 2. So you pay moneybags 2 or 3 times in total throughout this entire run. And the first one is optional. Technically, you could skip all payments to moneybags, but we don't have a route that takes advantage of skipping him. That was silly. This is a very fun little side area, pretty much because of the supercharge. You actually cannot just supercharge through vases. You have to slow up, as you saw, because the gems will not hone in. I missed a gem. That's kind of a bummer. But at least I'm traveling fast, so I don't have to worry about it too much. So, like I said, this proxy route doesn't save a whole lot of time, but it will later when I'm chasing moneybags to steal all my gems back. It saves probably more time there than it really does in this route. Alright, so now, maybe, coming up we have the second side character. Sergeant Bird, aka the Penguin of Doom. You'll see him more in the second homeworld, but he has one instance here in the first homeworld. So Sergeant Bird is probably my second favorite side character, which is weird saying because, I don't know, it's Sergeant Bird. He has some kind of crummy areas and levels, but his movement's pretty cool. So basically, you might have noticed I'm moving pretty fast, as opposed to like what you might remember. And that's because I'm taking advantage of this, I don't even know. If you hold down both strafe buttons, L1 and R1, it will let you have fast control of Sergeant Bird. So that's what I'm doing right here. And this makes Sergeant Bird a lot more bearable. I did not notice when I started out, actually. I don't know when I learned it, but I can tell you I finished my first run without knowing that. Maybe my first 2 or 3 runs. It was silly. Oops. Don't want that to happen. So luckily, this penguin has heat-seeking rockets strapped to his shoulders. I'm gonna use those to just help with getting everything.
Take this.
And that's pretty much Sergeant Bird in a nutshell. Shoot and fly.
Well, that's.
So had I not gotten the proxy, I would have actually done those 2 levels at the end. But I got those out of the way, so now I just need to clean up gems in the rest of the level. And then I'll be good to go from there. This will be the first time we see it as well. But this level introduces the key mechanic, in which there's a locked chest somewhere in the level, and a key somewhere else in the level. And you need to take that key and you need to open the chest, and then you'll get gems, which is pretty nifty, because who doesn't like gems? It's pretty straightforward, nothing too difficult to understand there. Coming up, these 2 boars can be a pain sometimes, just based on where they are sometimes. One of them can like hit you and then knock you into the lava, and if you're already on green sparks at that point, then your day is pretty much just ruined. At least mine would be. And then we'll be exiting the level here, pretty much right at the end of this cave, and going on to the first of 4 speedway levels. I'm not splitting, I went to split. So the speedway levels for this game they kind of build on the speedway levels from the second game, the same way the second game builds on the one from the first. Might be a little bit confusing, but so the first just had a straight up like time trial, time attack area. The second introduced hunter challenges, and the third introduces races. So you have 3 eggs to get, all from those things that I just mentioned. This is probably my favorite of the speedways, just because it's pretty fast paced, it's short, and the Hunter Challenge is actually not an auto scroller, whereas the next 3 after this one are. We have Where 5. You could spam that. So here I'm gonna mash like crazy, and then I tried to hit down at a certain time, like you saw, which I got, just because that saves me a little bit of time in menuing. It's not a huge deal. Alright, so this is the first of the races. Basically what you do is you race the locals, quote unquote. The locals for this one are butterflies. This race takes about a minute and a half. These races are pretty much like what I say is probably the most boring part for me. Maybe not so much as a viewer though, because there's some like clench parts, especially at the beginning of this one. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna try my best. One little secret trick, not secret, but like a trick to hitting the beginning parts is to kind of like really exaggerate your movements, and that helps so you don't accidentally go out of bounds. These races, as you can kind of tell, I'm not quite going through the rings. They're pretty generous in where you're allowed to hit them, so I take advantage of that because I'm gonna take that slow. I'm gonna take that slow too. Okay. As I was saying, you kind of want to be more towards the water, because for whatever reason, you will fly faster the closer you are to the water. And this is true of all the speedways in all 3 of the original Spyro games. It's most useful, most seen, most potent probably as well in Spyro 1. Spyro 2 and 3 not so much. The Supercharge edition is very nice. Although supercharging is still technically faster than gliding, your glide speed will actually increase as you go into the further speedway levels. Oh, I got a refresh. Sweet. So this is your traditional time attack speedway area. You just gotta collect, I don't even know, what is it, 8? 4 things, 8 times. There's this cool little trick right there. And then we have some goofy movement right here, getting some of these local butterflies here. A little bit nauseating. Alright, that was very good. Last but not least, we have the Hunter Challenge. Basically, Hunter is, pent up somewhere in all of these levels, and you want to try to find him as fast as possible. But we know where he is every time. So you go into the actual time attack because it spawns you closest to him. And we're going to do a non-auto scroller challenge. This one's the best one because it's fast-paced. It's a lot of fun. I might die. Alright, that was bad. I got some goofy movement going into that cave, so... Everything here is scripted, which is lucky. Crap, I might have messed up. That's okay. Like I said, all these UFOs follow a scripted path. And we can take advantage of that by creating our own route. And I didn't quite get it there. I missed one of those guys, but if I hadn't, that would have been really good. Not a big deal if you miss one of them. So one thing here is that there are some version differences between the 2 versions of the game. At least for NTSC, there's 1.0, which is the Black Label traditional version, and then there is 1.1, which is the Green Label Greatest Hits version. And the Black Label is the faster version of the 2 for this game, for this category. And one of those key differences you saw there, I actually was able to pause and exit the level before talking to Sparks. 1.1 cannot do that. Just gonna casually get some gems through the wall there, no big deal. I'll talk more on version differences as they kind of crop up a little bit. There are some handicaps to running on 1.0 though, mainly in like glitches and bugs. It gets kind of silly. Like I said, more on that later. This is the first level that really introduces like swimming into the mix. You get a little bit of that maybe in the homeworld, as you saw. I had to go around and get the egg at the bottom of the lake. But here you really start to feel it. So I'm going to be trying another proxy here. It's going to be another animation proxy. Again, it doesn't save a whole lot of time, but it's worth going for. Let's see if I can do it. Nope, I didn't get it. So, those seashells with enemies inside of them, when you bonk on them, obviously you bonk. But once the enemy spawns from them, they have a few, I don't know, like a second or a half a second or something of iframes, as well as an animation they go through. And if you jump into one of the shells, you can actually time it right so that you can get a proxy off the animation. So here, side area with Sheila. This one has a tendency to crash if you try to go too fast during this. So I'm going to do my best not to go fast and crash. Really, I think I have to worry about it mainly at the last part of this challenge. So what I have to do here is I have to break a bunch of cannons. These seals, 2 seals you're going to see here, they work at the Aloha snack bar. And some Rhinox have taken over their snack shack. And so what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to get in and bomb it, and then claim the loss on their insurance, and then maybe profit from that. This challenge as a kid used to be a little bit difficult for me because I would always try to get these sandboxes. But you don't need to get the sandboxes. You literally just need to get the dog houses and the cannons. Cool. I didn't crash there. As you saw, I kind of jumped up a little bit higher so that I wouldn't get that crash. Because usually how it happens is you go too fast, and maybe there's too many particles on the screen that causes the crash. Yeah. So like I said, they're going to claim that on their insurance and then go to town from there. Probably just help the scam. We'll see. So coming up in this like wide open area is going to be some interesting movement, and there's a little bit to how these enemies are going to move. We'll see if it works out. Okay, that's the exact enemy I wanted to hit. Otherwise this would be even more awkward. So basically all you have to do is meander through here and get all these gems. And the enemies kind of run on almost a cycle, but they're triggered by Spyro himself. So my jump count is good. That's good to see. So this is the first tunnel of the game. It's the harder of the two, believe it or not. Basically, I have to go through this water tunnel with some awkward, almost delayed movement in how I'm swimming. And I have to knock all these Rhinox away, and then get the egg at the end. I don't really care about the Rhinox, I just want the egg, but this guy wants me to clear him. So I'm going to do some charging right here, right before I exit, as you saw. And that's going to give me like slight momentum right here, and it saves like a little bit of time. I actually did not know about this. I was watching Parso's Spyrothon run from last year in which he mentioned it, and he's like, yeah, nobody knows about this. You guys should do it. So I'm like, wow, I should do that and make mention of it. So this is Bluto. He's like a mini boss, but you're on this boat, and the boat shoots rockets, and I screwed up. I screwed up big time. I apologize to everybody I let down. So I was supposed to get the box here. I actually don't really know what I'm gonna do here. that box. Let's get in the box. I want to keep my sparks too. Alright, that was slow, but I at least have marks. Sparks, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show off the really cool strat that was developed by Nerf. You got like Babby's first speedrun right there. Bit of interesting movement here. You kind of jump in this water and then you jump out and then you jump back in and then out. Some nice routing there. Oops. So right after this, we're gonna have our first like serious boss. His name is Buzz, and he is a giant, I don't know, buzzsaw dinosaur dude. And Buzz is the easiest boss in the game, but my PB actually dies to Buzz, which is a huge meme. Huge, capital letters. So I'm gonna try not to die because I don't wanna be an even bigger meme. But yeah, so once you've gotten all the end of level eggs that you need, you'll just teleport to the vehicle that's gonna take you to the boss in the next homeworld. So luckily they just put me right in here. And then here I go. Buzz has some interesting mechanics to him. Basically, he will spin around the entire arena trying to squish Spyro, but he will not run himself off the edge. And so I'm going to take advantage of that by putting him right next to the edge every single time.
When I heard the
I hope I don't die. Please. Cool. So now this is going to start like a chain of doing the exact same thing. He kind of gets caught on the edge, like so, and he stops moving. So I'm also going to do some off-camera stuff here. Basically, if something's not on camera, the game tries to save, like memory by not, making it run. So normally he has a firewall that he puts up right after he stops spinning. But since I'm off-screening him like this, it doesn't come up, and this is fast. Cool, that went well. I'm very happy about that. My favorite thing about 117 is that right when you get that egg, you exit the level. You don't have to sit through and watch the dramatic cutscene of Spyro walking to the balloon and being whisked away to greater adventures. You can just leave the level. So, Spyro 3 introduces Sparks as a side character. You're going to see right here. He shoots and he charges, but his charge doesn't damage things. It actually hurts them.
hello, Spot.
It's a pretty straightforward thing. It gets very loud with all the pew pew pewing.
You can
So hopefully my sound levels are okay and that you all can hear me when I'm shooting. But we'll see. So that right there,
Looks like you're
you can just go diagonal and strafe your way up that wall. That's the only wall in the entire game you can do that on. Otherwise you need the help from an enemy. And that lets us skip the entire tutorial. It's pretty hype. I also just got a power-up, and this is the power-up I want in every single Sparks level. So there are multiple different power-ups, but they're not worth talking about except for this one and invincibility. But the shooty power-ups all do the exact same damage, even as like your normal shoot, but you usually get less of the other power-ups. In this case, I get a machine gun with 300 ammo, and I can take advantage of the little amount of iframes that bosses have, and I can just tear into them like butter. Butter on bread. So here's the other invincibility that's worth talking about. It's the invincibility, the power-up. It's invincibility, as I just screwed up saying. I can go God mode, just run through everything. This is pretty nice. I think it's in every single level except for the third one. Yeah, that sounds right. So I'm gonna take advantage of here and run through everything. Also, that button just disabled that force field around that spawner. So that was nice. As I mentioned earlier, spawners usually have the gems rather than the enemies. But as you saw in that last one, that spawner didn't have a gem. I don't know why, but it's interesting. Worth pointing out, that's why I shot at it. As I said earlier, butter. You just go straight through. And that's the Sparks level. Cool thing about Sparks levels is once you do them, you talk to Zoe again, and you get this dank-ass power-up for Spyro. Well, it's for Sparks, but when you're playing as Spyro, it's useful. So this first power-up gives me greater Sparks collection distance, and this is cool because it lets me go even faster. Who doesn't love going fast? Am I right? I'm going to change gears here. Coming up here on a pretty important trick that can go really wrong. It's called Bridge Swim, and it's going to be a swim in air, but it's a little bit different from your traditional, like, charge into a plane. And it's a heck of a lot more fickle. I'm going to be doing a method developed by DomDom ZBM, my boy, where I do 3 short hops rather than 2 large hops. Okay, I didn't get it. It's alright. Okay, this is bad. Alright, this is really bad. So doing this allows me to do a route. It saves about 15 seconds over the old route without Bird Swim. But clearly I just lost like 30 seconds, so it's not worth it. But shh, I'm not going to say anything. If you don't do that swim in air, there's another swim in air you have to do with a head bash. It's a little bit easier, but you know, why not go fast? Bird Swim isn't too bad of a trick. I just kind of got really unlucky. You kind of have to be confident in trying to mash square right there, which I really wasn't for some reason. But anyway, so here we're going into Sergeant Bird's base, and this is going to allow us to unlock Sergeant Bird permanently. Again, we don't want to pay money bags because 5th try bridge. Okay, cool. Spyrothon luck, we'll call it. So this is a notorious level, one of the first, because it is very easy to miss gems in this level. You're going to see it later more so than really in the beginning, because eventually this level is going to open up into this huge, not huge, but very big wide open area with a lot of gems in a lot of places. And these gems can fall from the sky and get a bad bounce and just ruin your day. This is also an escort mission, which are pretty common in this game. Basically, I have to just take this hummingbird to the end of the level. Sergeant Bird wants some tail, so that's why he's complying. Cool little thing on those balloons right there is that if you're right next to them when you shoot them and they start falling, they take Sergeant Bird down with them. So it saves a little bit of time when you're trying to descend fast. I actually didn't want to take that hit. These guys are jerks. Who throws a flower pot, honestly? Better than a shoe, though. Actually, a lot of the enemies in this game are kind of dirtbags. Like these guys with their like shooty McShooty things. They're just really mean. So right here, if I shoot that guy right there on the ground, the second guy on the ground, that would start a chain that would end up like getting me to the end of the level. I'm gonna wait to do that because I want to do some stuff first. Do a little bit of cleanup. Thanks for getting that, Sparks. So this is the wide open area that I was talking about. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies here. You could just lose a gem and ruin your day. So that gem there came from one of those flying people. And that gem actually has the option of falling on the ground. So luckily I got it right there. I actually did something really bad there. I wanted to catch those gems in the air so that none of them fell down. Not a huge deal, but I just gotta remember to get them. Both of those gems I just got can also fall in the lava. This is an interesting part of the level because you kind of just hold those strafe buttons and X, and you move through this tunnel, and you don't really have to worry about getting hit, except for when you do get hit. It's funny. It looks impressive. It's really easy to do. Like I said, I gotta be very, very mindful of where all these gems are. Like that green one is a bit of an off gem. This yellow gem can sometimes just fall. If you're not ready for it, it's devastating. Sometimes sparks can just go on vacation. And so right there, I hit that one that initiates ending the level. And since there's a little bit of a delay on it, I want to maximize that time and collect as many gems as I can. My gem count does not look good right now. But we are not okay. Dang it. So I'm missing two gems. This is why this level is dreaded. Did I get this one up here? There it is. Okay. So again, this is where knowing your gem counts is incredibly helpful, because I could have gotten to the end of the level and been like, wait a minute, I'm missing a gem, and had to go all the way back and start searching. But luckily I know that the last 2 digits of your gem count before you get that 10 gem are going to be 1 less than what you enter with. So I entered with 88, so I needed to have 87 right there. And that was unfortunate. Not the biggest deal, but I'm going to hope that I don't miss any other gems. But that's the level.
Before I was
And then that's Sergeant Bird. Like I said, he's a fun character to play as, but his levels are a little bit off. You'll see in another level called Enchanted Towers in this homeworld, as you play as him, it's not really the most fun. Some nice thief manipulation there. You can get that thief really early. Otherwise, he's actually kind of difficult to chase. He's very slippery. Coming up next is yet another notorious level called Spooky Swamp, which, if you played this game in your childhood, you probably remember this level because of blind guys. Who doesn't love blind guys, am I right? Who doesn't love talking to Hunter accidentally all the time? So, in the beginning here, I'm actually going to do a sequence break and this out of bounds trick. It's really cool. So normally there are these 4 lanterns that you have to light that will open up a portal to a side area to face a boss. But if I skip into that boss without lighting any of them up, it thinks that I already got him. It's interesting. So I'm going to take advantage of going out of bounds and flying into the portal. Again, it's because the portals bleed and everything that I can do this. Coming up right after this gem collection. I have to be very careful because there's another portal here that I could accidentally enter, and I don't want to enter. Like that one. Cool, I got it. So now we're in Sleepyhead, or Egghead Nork Unicorn. This boss is pretty straightforward. He throws these green little alligator dudes. There are 2 things you can do. You can let him spawn, or you can actually get him to not spawn them by jumping into him and he bounces you back. But at its best, they break even. And in fact, if you do the strat in which you try to get him to bounce you back, there's a good chance you're not doing it optimally, so you will actually be losing a few frames. So always just clear out these green guys. There's also this trick that I could go for, in which I would continue gliding towards that egg, and I would actually save a second, and I wouldn't have to pause and leave. It would exit me immediately after getting that egg. But I run the risk of soft locking. Not soft locking, I'm sorry. The egg will lock up if I leave the level and come back in, I cannot get the egg. I'm
This
sorry, if I
way.
leave the area. I have to leave the level entirely. So, like I said, it only saves a second. Not the most marathon safe. It's pretty consistent, but it's not something I really want to try. This is blind, guys. It's notorious. It's hard. I'm gonna try one cycling it. My one cycle differs a little bit from Parso's, which is based on the tasks. Not too much. I just somehow came up with this and thought it worked a little bit better for me. They both accomplish the exact same thing. The hardest part is the camera. Camera management in this side area is just god awful. Alright, so I'm doing good right now, but this is not quite the hardest part. Hardest part is in the second blind guy. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, this is an auto scroller. It's all scripted. I know exactly where they're gonna go. Unfortunately, as you just saw, that rock fell from the sky and that mushroom was gonna pop up. So you cannot just set his path and clear it. You actually have to kind of wait on that. And be careful not to go too fast or too slow. Did I really just not get that 25 gem? Anyway. So now I'm going to try for the second blind guy. And I'm going to try to go optimal. I have my own route, as I mentioned. It has built-in delays so that he's in the correct spot when he needs to be in the correct spot. And I'm going to attempt that. That's why I went around that mushroom there. We're gonna hope for the best here. Hug the right wall there because I don't want to get that red gem early, because that messes up my gem collection. And then I'm gonna hug this wall going out because it helps fix the camera. The camera is a butthole. Alright, we're looking perfect. This is great. This is ideal. I don't even really have to worry about him Sheila accidentally missing the head bash there. I might not be able to do this its most optimal. Alright, I lied. I got it. Perfect. That was exactly what I wanted to do. So now I can actually leave this early, right before Zoe even zaps me. Beautiful. Exactly what I wanted. 11 out of 10. 5 out of 7. You name it, we got it. So a little camera trick right here. The egg kind of spawns under Spyro. I don't know if you would really call it a time save. You could argue it might be because of the camera location already being set up where you're going to go. After this, we just have some more collection from the normal level. And as I said, see, that flame is lit, and I never lit it. So that's pretty hype. There is another chest here with a key. And here's the key, hidden up in this tree. I don't know why these trees are like platforms. You can ask the developers or Spyro or something. Alright, these guys can be jerks. You kind of have to time out your flames right there. I almost hit spins. Wrong game. A little bit of interesting movement right here, except I messed it up. Because I accidentally got that fodder. It's a speed underscore run. Excuse me. Cool. That level went really well. Yeah, that level went really well. Like I said, that's a notorious level. Both in speedrun and outside of it. Coming up next, I'm going to have an attempt at the third kind of proxy. It's called... Did I get that one? No. It's called an animation... No. It's called a squeeze proxy. Excuse me. Silly Billy. Basically, I'm going to put Spyro in a place that's too small for Spyro to fit, and the game is just going to try to force me out. This is a pretty easy proxy, but I haven't had the most consistency with it lately. So if I don't get it, there's like a backup non-proxy route that I don't know how to do because it's been a long time since I haven't really gotten it this much. So I'm gonna wing it and hope for the best. Hey, I got it. Let's get some yeehaws in the chat. So, like I said, the route changes for this level based on whether or not you get the proxy. You do this challenge first, otherwise you would be doing the challenge last. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet is sometimes you're hearing people talk after they're, done talking. And that's the result of mashing so fast that the game doesn't know it needs to stop the audio from playing. So basically, to mash text in this game, you want to mash both start and X to get the fastest that you possibly can. And in doing so, sometimes you can get audio that plays after text. It will not happen though if there's like instructions. Like sometimes you'll get green instructions on like, oh, here's how to pick your nose, here's how to wipe your butt, that kind of stuff for the challenge. And that will cancel the audio. So you won't see that always, but just most of the time.
Please take.
Again, you're not supposed to be able to access this part of the level until you get the end of level egg. So that's pretty nifty. Next up, we're going to go for a swim in air. I'd say it's a pretty common swim in air. I knew about this one when I was a kid. I don't think I necessarily found it myself, though. Can I get all those gems? Yeah, cool. Basically, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this waterfall is... Whoa, I need that. A waterfall. And get swim in air. So, this is really interesting. This egg... Well, let me back up a sec. So once you get this end of level egg, there's a thief that spawns right above where I got that egg. And so the developers store the egg underneath where the thief is going to spawn. This is pretty common. As you've seen, I've gotten underneath portals to enter them early before their portal is technically spawned, as you saw in Sergeant Bird and Sheila's Alp. So, just a cool little thing to take advantage of there. And that saves me having to chase after the thief. It's really nice that it's there. So this is the third side character. His name is Bentley. He's a giant Yeti. Or maybe he's a normal sized Yeti. He might be a small Yeti. I don't know. I don't really know Yetis all that well. If anybody has an onion on this, please feel free to voice it. Bentley is pretty straightforward. He walks, he jumps very slow and low to the ground. He smashes his club and he spins his club. And that is really it. There's no speed tech to him, really. Right here, I kind of tried to break that panda head rock a little bit early so that I could jump over that parasol. Because if you do it a little bit too late, then your jump will not be registered because it's still trying to go through the animation. And otherwise, usually you used to just stop right there, but jumping is slightly faster. You gotta be very careful there. If you hit that slant, you can fall off. I cannot actually go for a trick right there. If I had gotten a TNT there, I could have launched myself up and saved like a couple seconds at the expense of one hit of sparks. And this is the end of the Bentley area. See Bentley later. Don't worry. So now we're going to introduce the first of this mechanic, which if you saw Spyro 2, you're familiar with this. The mystery jar. Basically, there is a jar at the end of some levels that if you hit it, it will move somewhere else and you have to keep chasing it. And once you get it in the final position and break it, it gives you a bunch of gems. So that's what this is basically going through. And this is why this route can work so well, because you have to backtrack anyways. And another funny thing is, since game thinks there are certain parts of this level that you have to actually do. Like, you have to stop these enemies to free these pandas so that they can hit that switch and release that bridge. But since I've beaten the end of the level, the game thinks that I've already done this, but the enemies don't know that. So they spawn in and they do the same thing that they're doing. So if you notice that parasol umbrella dude, he was still trying to chase the panda that was actually not there. Pretty interesting, pretty fun. It's a good laugh and a half. Coming up right here, that guy right there is a real pain because there's a very specific way you have to like move around in that room in order to get him to fall down. Luckily, in the proxy route that I'm currently doing, the movement is great because it spawns him pretty much 100% guaranteed. It's not hard to spawn here, but it's just a little bit of fickle movement. And then here we're gonna get all these gems and then exit the level. Cool. That was a pretty good level. It's always nice getting the proxy. Coming up, we have the second speedway, arguably the most boring. Get your hype on. Before that, we are actually going to free twin dragons, Modesty, and my boy Mazza13. Basically twins. Here's the first. Brings a tear to my eye seeing these two. So, like I said, second speedway, country speedway. By far the worst hunter challenge as well. So, again, I'm gonna try this. I got it, luckily. So, in doing the race first, that just lets me mash with confidence later when I try to do the actual time trial. Again, here I'm gonna take advantage of the big hitbox on these rings, and I'm gonna go through them pretty much everywhere except through the center. It's worth noting also your glide speed has increased slightly. Again, your supercharge is still slightly faster though. This also introduces the newest mechanic of races, and that is the red rocket, the homing missile of death. I'm not actually going to get any in this one, but basically all they are is, as I said, heat-seeking missiles that you shoot and brutally murder the other contestants in the race. None of them do it to you. Spyro's the only one who will do it, so it's cheating. I don't condone cheating, so I'm not actually going to partake in this shenaniganry. So I'm going to skip it in every which way I can. Again, these aren't the most exciting, because once you've seen it once, one lap, you've seen all the laps. So right there, I opted to not go for that star that was up in the sky more. And that's very, very slightly faster, just because of that property I mentioned earlier, in which the closer you are to the water, the faster you will glide. So I had the option to get the first star, move up, get the second star, and then get that third star. But instead I just get the first and third. Very, very, very slightly faster. Nothing worth writing home about. And as I said, these are the locals that I'm racing right here. You'll see them in the time trial again. They are something that I have to destroy in order to get gems. Ruin their days. And I think I've babbled enough for this one, because we're almost at the end. And that's exciting. Cool. Unintended. Maybe unintended. This guy right here, Shemp. That dragon right there. That guy has a lot to live up to. He's gonna get his doctorate. He's gonna be Dr. Shemp. Dude, he's got his work cut out for him. That lad is gonna go places. of very many few good places. Alright, I hate it when I do this. I'm a silly head, and I screwed up really badly. This level is not hard, but I'm really bad at that. So, here we are. It's just this one, right? Cool. Alright, not the worst thing in the world. It's gonna mess up my cycles here slightly. I might have been bad enough that I'm not actually gonna have to worry. Yes, I am bad enough that I don't have to worry. So, shoutouts to being bad. Hallelujah. Praise. One other thing I haven't pointed out yet is that once you get all the gems and you've beaten all the enemies, you can actually just immediately quit the challenge, and it gives you it as having been completed. So now I'm going to do something pretty interesting. I'm going to immediately just like veer off and not go through that first ring. If I had gone to the first ring, I would not be able to get up here. This is really fast. Now this is the most boring auto-scrolling. These bullets are heat sinking. I could miss and they would go find their target. So as I mentioned, there are version differences. I'm on 1.0, the Black Label version, the best version. 1.0 does not have sound effects. Well, they do have sound effects, but if you're far enough away, the sound effects will not play in this challenge. So normally those cows moo. They go moo, and you hear like their bones breaking. It's brutal. I'm kind of glad I don't get to hear that, because this is an E for everyone game. This is a PG stream, so. Those UFOs also make an explosion noise. I don't know about the cows, but I know if you get close enough to the UFOs, the explosion actually plays. But I don't really care to find out about the cows, because if you fail this, you get like a permanent dunce cap, and you're marked for death for life. Like, you can't live that down. And another 1.0 difference is that 1.0 lacks a good amount of music. There are actually unique speedway tracks instead of this one stock track that you hear every single time. So part of the reason why I don't like speedways so much might be because the music is the exact same thing and not unique. But anyway, I'm done. That was okay. If the speedway had gone better, I'd be a happy camper. But I'm not an unhappy camper. We got to see our boy Shemp. So again, don't have to talk to Sparks. That's great. Now I'm going to attempt another proxy in this coming level. This level is very convoluted, and a lot can go wrong in this level. But I'm going to try. I'm going to pray for the best. And if I get the squeeze proxy, I'll be sitting pretty. If not, I'll go for this tough backup, and then I don't know, probably complain if I don't get it. We'll see. This is probably my favorite proxy in the game. I don't really know why. But I'm going to attempt to get to the end of the level, but then come back. Let's see how it goes. That's not it. Go, baby! Alright, sweet. So that was awesome. That is exactly what I wanted. That was the squeeze proxy, the GOAT. And that lets me sequence break, get up here. I'm going to get some of these gems to put that booger into good position so that when I get up here, I can get this booger early. Hey, by the way, these guys are called boogers because they look like snot, and they're also huge goobers. And you're going to see a lot of that later. Their gems, the way they move, everything about them is just like class A goober boy stuff. And let me tell you, that's... Alright, hold on. Alright, we're good. That's just... I don't know, that's disgusting. Goober boys. So, like I said, in 100 ag, well, maybe not 100 ag, actually. In any percent, you would normally just go to the end of the level from that. But here, I got a lot to collect, so I can go through the level like normally. One interesting thing to note about this level is that I'm actually going to be playing as Sergeant Bird, and for the only time in the game, I'm actually going to be able to cover the same ground that Spyro covers. I'm going to be back in this, like, overworld part of the level. That'll be the very last thing I do, and before that I have 2 challenges I'm going to go through. So this is a great part if you're an audiophile, my IMO at least. So crank those headphones. Alright, I'm having a rough time. Yeah, shoutouts to sound correction. Any lack thereof.
Oops.
So inside that statue is the challenge, believe it or not. And this is the best skate park in the game, but it's also an auto scroller, which sucks.
Isn't this the... Let's start with something easy. You can jump off the end of ramps by pressing the X button. I'll show you how to do it once. Then it's your turn.
So
Okay.
we basically just go through this tutorial of how to trick, which unfortunately I know how to trick. But if I were a casual player, like dang dude, I would love to be Tony Hawk. So I'm glad this is in the game. Like I said, this is an auto scroller, both parts of this area. And this one can be slightly sped up in a couple places, but very, very, very slightly so. The only one I'm really going to try for is the very last manipulation. I'll point it out. It's on the big ramp. Actually, right after this one. And then after this tutorial, we're going to go head-to-head with Mr. Cat Pants himself, Hunter, for tricks. So the old strat is we went off this half pipe, but we went straight up and got this hanging base. But there's something slightly faster. If you delay tricking right there, you can get yourself so that you land right on that platform, and that's very slightly faster to do. And like I said, this is going to be a 2-minute auto scroller in which I have to score over 4,500 points to beat this pantsed cat Hunter. 4,500 points. I don't know if I could do that in 2 minutes. Like I said, it's an auto scroller, so I want to maximize that by getting all the gems that I can, which is this is pretty simple stuff. Train etiquette, pretty much. As you saw right there, I got a single backflip, and then a double backflip. I was going for a Twisted Lemon, actually a Nasty Nork specifically, but thanks to the great detection in this game, I did not get it. Luckily, I got it, though, when I was trying to cut back on time, because sometimes in that very last trick training spot, Hunter, you don't really end up getting your proper trick. So I'm going to be done here very, very shortly. And have all the gems in the area, and then I have the option to either sit around and do absolutely nothing, or I could give the hot play-by-play on Hunter and see what he's doing. So I'm gonna go with the hot play-by-play. Let's go follow this guy. Look at him tricking up there. What a lad. We gotta catch up to this man, this living legend. Oh, okay. Look at him go. Cannot contain the coolness that is Hunter. Where are you going? Alright, I don't even know what's going on. I lost him. There he is. Doing the triple towers. Thinking he's so cool, because he is. You can go out of bounds here, but if you die, then you actually have to start the challenge over. I don't really want to do that. So. Dang, if only I got one more point. Could you imagine? And that's the auto scroller. Like I said, this is the best skate park in the game, hands down, objectively. Coming up now, we're going to be doing another escort mission, but we're escorting Farley, and Farley's awesome. Like, who doesn't love Farley? But before that, there are 6 boogers here. I'm going to get 3 of them, because that's fast. Because I want to be Speed, the literal embodiment of speed. That would make my day so much better if I could just become Speed. Alright, so here, this is probably the reason why this was one of my favorite levels as a kid, because of this guy right here. He's cute. That's Farley. Basically, the gist of it is we have to take him through this side area and use him to hit these buttons. We throw the ball where we want him to go, and he will go to it, and we can do this puzzle. But luckily, we can skip all that, and we can actually finish the puzzle without ever having to use Farley, which is fast. And who doesn't love being fast? As I just mentioned multiple times. Oh, that was bad. I don't miss that trick anymore. It's very easy, but it's also easy to mess up. Alright, missing it more than once, which is silly. Alright, I didn't want to be a bad luck Brian anymore, so we're good. Basically, you just kind of have to veer off, and then hover and turn yourself so that you flame up there. You also have to be a little bit careful, I'm pretty sure. If you skip some of these Farley cutscenes too fast, I think it can screw up the game. Am I missing 2 gems? I might be missing 2 gems. I'm not entirely sure. This is literally the worst level you would ever miss a gem in. Did I? Alright. I'll worry about it in a bit. Like I said, we're going to cover the same ground we did as Spyro as Sergeant Bird here, but instead we're going to try to get all of the bones from for the bone dance from these like dinosaur dogs that are stealing all the bones. And this is really where the boogers start to shine, because they kind of react where you're going, and that's where they kind of shoot away from. And you have to be close enough, otherwise they won't give you the gem, as you kind of just saw there. I really want this, so please. Please. Oh, I didn't get that gem. Okay, I'm so glad I know which guy to get. This guy. Yeah, he went the wrong way for me, from what I normally do, so it screwed me up. I was right, I did miss a gem. I'm so happy that it's that one. And not something stupid. Like I said, not a whole lot to hear. This is routed out pretty specifically. And again, you have to be careful to have those guys on screen to get them to die and give you the gem. This guy at the end, this one right here, is very fickle, but luckily he's in a very good position in which I can get him. And then I'm going this direction anyways, so otherwise that guy can really be a pain. Alright, so this level I'd say it went really well. It wasn't the best it could have been, but it's not a big deal. Last but not least, there's Bone Dance. I saw that earlier, I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip that. We got the last level coming up for this homeworld as Spyro. Excuse me. And this is Icy Peak, and it has a dumb crash spot. Very dumb crash spot. So I'm gonna try my best to not crash, because this is Spyro. Oops. Again, just some more overworld, homeworld cleanup. Nothing too exciting. I'm gonna have 17 going into this cave. The old route for this used to do Icy Peak first, and then this has like one choke point that you both enter and exit. And so you're kind of walking on your own path already. So this newer route, not new, well it is newer, but this faster route has us end on Icy Peak. And then as I mentioned earlier, once we get the end of level ag and come out of the level, we are actually going to be teleported straight to the boss. So we don't have to worry about coming back out of this cave, and that's fantastic. I think this is the first time we'll see it, but this level introduces cannons. Specifically like magical, like energy cannons. We're shooting like mini Kamehamehas here. There's a lot of particles on screen hitting these birds, as well as shooting the bullets. And so at a later cannon, second last cannon I'm going to do, I have to be very careful not to get too many particles on the screen and crash the game. At least that's the running theory. We don't entirely know for sure, I think. If I'm wrong, somebody please, like, yell at me. This level is a bit difficult because there's a good amount of damage abuses, and you have to be careful of your sparks management. I had some good fodder route right there, Not that I have fodder route, but good fodder preparation. So I got an extra life there, and that gave me sparks back all the way. Cool. So that's a cool little trick that I just screwed up by giving that. The intended way is you find this little secret area that puts you on a ledge above the cracks in the ice, and you're like, oh look, there are cracks in the ice. I could head bash that. And so you head bash it from up there. But you can actually skip having to do that and get it early like I did. And then falling back on the ice like you saw is a nice little manipulation for those 3 TNT people. I don't know, they're like weasels or something. And luckily I got it, but I just didn't get my flame off correctly. A lot going on in this. Alright, this is a cool little manipulation. Not a manipulation, but it's like, you can blow it up with that. Pretty darn nifty. Nice little wall glide right there. Saves you a slight amount of time. Maynard Keynes right there. Oops. So if you noticed, I shot a rocket. And you don't really know where that rocket went. But I'm gonna get that later. That's gonna be the last thing I do. I actually messed this up. And that's okay. We all make mistakes. Everybody has those days. Alright, so sometimes you can make it up to that second step with the green gem on it through that damage abuse. It's a nice little damage abuse, but again, you have to be careful. Here is the notorious cannon that can crash the game. I'm gonna be very careful killing these birds. In fact, so careful I'm gonna lose time. Cool. Okay. We're all good, no crash. Coming up is the first quote-unquote not optional payment to moneybags. There is a way to skip this, but it's incredibly hard. The TAS has a really nice route, so like I said, plug the TAS. This is, you want to watch this level. You want to watch this level done by the TAS. It is amazing. This Nancy has some great music, as well as some great la-las, but it's again an escort auto-scroller. These hockey players want to just like bat her around because they're, I don't know, bloodthirsty. It's an auto-scroller, like I said, they're coming at the exact same spot every single time. So if I were to mess this up somehow, live on Spyrothon, then, you know, you would all have a free pass to mock me for the rest of my life. I'm gonna try not to do that. I've actually messed this up more times than I am willing to be honest about. Cool. We're okay. And now we just sit through here. Shoutouts to Spudley Man, who plays the piano at this part. You got a lot of time here, you can wait. Taking her bow. Applause and everything. Bob Ross reference. Happy little trees. My man, my dude. Alright, so coming up, we have a very fun side area. Again, more thieves. It's like a thieves' den. Fucking Sly Cooper up in here. And we got more supercharges. And we also have this really cool manipulation trick that I'm going to try to go for. If I get it, it's going to allow me to kill 2 thieves at the exact same time, and as a result get 2 eggs at the exact same time. So keep your eyes peeled. This is actually RNG based though. I need this thief, when he comes back, I need him to go on the left path. If he doesn't, then I can't do it. Alright, I'm going to go for it. I got it. Beautiful. I'll let this play out. So, it kind of thinks it should be playing 2 animations at the exact same time, so it just plays the one, and it makes it really glitchy. You also get the nice double audio. It's amazing. I messed up. You have to be very careful in doing that though, because the way it works is the exact frame that you kill the first thief, the second thief spawns in that place. And so you kill them both at the exact same time. But if you mess up, and there's a couple of things that could happen there. One of the eggs you will not get. It'll actually be like, I don't know. It's not a soft block again, but you would have to leave the level and come back in order to get the egg. And it would literally just sit there and you couldn't pick it up. Or you will just outright miss the red thief, which is combatable by, I have a backup for one of the routes, because the route he goes, he has two possible ways to make it back. And one of them I can deal with, the other one I can't. The other one makes me butthurt. Yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to show that off. That's a fun trick. You don't always get to show that off. So now we have the second boss, Spike.
Let's hit 'em.
Probably the hardest casually, but one of the funnest to do as well. So right here, we're going to see something that also puts 1.0 faster. There's not going to be a cutscene before this boss. If you've noticed, when I went to Buzz, there was a cutscene involving Bianca and the Sorceress. And they have some banter and do some stuff. But for whatever reason, 1.0 just does not have this cutscene, but they put it in 1.0. 1.1, excuse me. 1.0 does not have it. 1.1 does. And so it's faster for that reason. And it also means that I don't crash on it, which is fantastic. This is Spike. Like I said, he can be pretty mean. I'm gonna try to get an extra hit, like I just did. Let's go. There are 3 weapons. I'm gonna try to get him to move over to me. Nope. 3 weapons in this. And you hit him 3 times with each of them, but sometimes you can get an extra hit. Pretty nifty. Each time you get a new weapon, he gets another shot in his bullet. And these bullets are like really, really clowny because they like kind of home in on you, but they also kind of don't. Sometimes they can just be really unpredictable. That fight went really well. I'm glad about that. It's Moniqua. Good egg. Alright, coming up we have the second Sparks level, which is probably the hardest. And I'm gonna go like balls to the wall here. Try my best to do it fast and not die. Oh, alright, that was actually really, really close to being a mess up.
Hi, Spyro.
So that strat saves like not even, it's like half a second over going up the stairs. It's kind of silly. But yeah, Spider Town. There's a lot of spiders. A lot. There's also some like built-in damage abuse with an out of bounds I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna be getting another one of these power-ups very soon, so I can spend it as much as I want, which helps out with these plant pots. It's very easy to get overwhelmed in this level. And miss. Gosh, I love missing. Alright, I've already screwed up, but I should be okay. This is a tight little invincibility strat here. I might not get it all the way, but it's not a huge deal. If you ever want to pivot when you're charging, like 180 degrees or something like that, I find it best that you stop charging first, turn, and then start charging again. Yeah, I'm not hitting this. It's okay. So right here I'm going to go for an out of bounds. As I mentioned before, you need enemies to make use of these out of bounds. If I had gone right all the way up against that left wall right there, I would actually start falling. I don't really know why. It's just how it works. I'm going to get this just to be a little bit safe. So yeah, you don't quite go all the way to the wall there. It also helps with avoiding those fire bursts from those spiders. I think I did that incorrectly. I don't really remember. I didn't want to use that much of my power-up. Luckily, you need about, 80 bullets for the boss, which is not a lot. It's not a lot at all. This is another hold X to win boss. see very shortly. This has gone very well. My sparks management, health management has been very good until right now, but I'm still gonna be okay. It's very easy to just get outright overwhelmed, especially when you're trying to go fast. This is a speed underscore run. Cool. You also have to kind of be careful right here, because if your movement is incorrect and you accidentally exit the boss area before beating the boss, you have to leave level and come back in. Like I said, hold X to win. It's that simple. If you lose this power up in any of these sparks levels, it's just like butthurt central. Yeah, so this power up is a very important power up, especially when you're starting off. It's called the Sparks Finder.
Excellent work.
And basically, I can hold all the bumper buttons, L1, L2, R1, R2, and sparks will point to the nearest gem in the level, or at least in the area. This is very, very helpful, especially when you're starting out, because it lets you find any gem that you missed. And missing gems in this game is very, very, very common. So right here, we're in the third homeworld. This is the longest homeworld in the game. There's a lot of potential butthurt spots. I'm going to do my best to not be butthurt. Coming up right here, we're going to have the third speedway. This is probably the hardest time attack, but it's not even the hardest version of the time attack. There's a faster version that saves probably another 8 seconds, but it's not quite RTA viable. Personally, I like getting the speedway out of the way first, so I'm just going to mash straight through. I don't really want to do the race quite yet. So, as I said, this one's pretty tough if you do it this way, so I'm going to try my darnest to not disappoint. This part right here, jumping off of here, like I would have probably bonked right there, and that would have just ruined everything. Coupled with the fact that you have to get some of these honey hives from underneath, it's very easy to mess up. The beginning is the hardest part. Alright, we're good. That was all the hard part. And now basically I just need to launch myself off some of these petals. So for whatever reason, these petals here aren't all solid. And even some of them are only like part of them are solid, but some other parts aren't. And I want to charge off of them because that's speed, and I want to be the embodiment of speed, as you can see. So you kind of just have to memorize which petals you need to supercharge off of. Here I'm using the honey hives to get a ramp off. I only got one of them, but you'll see more in the race. 101 is the time I just got there. You can usually hit a 58. Wasn't the best, but I didn't screw up and lose 14 seconds, so I don't actually care that much. This race right here is the longest race in the game. Not the most boring, I'd say, though. I think Country Speedway is still the most boring race. This one is, I don't know, interesting, I guess. It's long. I'll usually get to like the second lap and then realize I still have another lap to go. And then I'm like, wow, I can't believe I have to do this still. Nothing new here. See a lot more of these rockets. I'll probably end up getting one just because of the pathing that I use. And then the cool speed tech, you got the ramps up here. Those are always really enjoyable to see. And we have another one right here. You gotta be careful because sometimes you can overshoot that, so you have to like veer off to the side. So I have one of these heat-seeking death missiles that I don't want because I don't want to hurt anybody. I want to be everybody's friend even. I also like to pretend that whenever Spyro has one of those rockets in his mouth, it actually weighs him down and makes him move slower. But this is literally purely for my own enjoyment because these are so like mind-numbingly boring that I kind of don't want to be in here. There's no speed tech involving them. What could I cover here? Yeah, so we're running around this nacho cheese pool. It's pretty cool. The Hunter challenge coming up after this is involves Hunter on a boat in the nacho cheese river. So that sounds pretty exciting, but then you remember it's an auto scroller and then you start to think it's not that exciting. Some cool little movement tech though. Definitely hitting that pedal is a little bit difficult for me in the beginning. Yeah, you gotta use your imagination and try to entertain yourself as much as possible. I like the background of this level too. It reminds me of treetops. And I like treetops as background. We'll take a moment to appreciate like the art in this game. Golly gee. Alright, so again, I'm going to go in through the race because that's the fastest way to get to Hunter. But this is the only level that I actually have to go through this first ring because I can't just cut over to Hunter immediately.
Look out, Spyro.
For some reason his arms are really orange. Actually, that might be only on my screen. But anyway, so there's actually some speed tech to this auto scroller. I'm gonna hit myself on these this debris 6 times at the very end. And basically what happens is every time I get hit, that UFO is gonna move up a little bit. And I'm gonna cause it to crash, which it crashes at the end, spoiler alert. It's gonna crash a little bit earlier, and that's gonna save me a very minor amount of time, but since this is a speedrun, I want all of the time that I can possibly save. So here's the first one. They're gonna come fast. Get your britches ready. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then he's gonna crash early. So usually I would actually go further in the river before it gives me the egg. Alright, so that's out of the way. Now we're on to a pretty another big doozy of a level. Mainly because of one of the side areas. This is gonna be Jack. Not quite Jack and the Beanstalk, more in like Jack and the bouncy mushroom and hard flower seeds. The name's a work in progress. But first off, we're gonna do a little bit of an out of bounds here. Found by the legend and Sprash icon himself, Groovy Tuval. The wall is just kind of not there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, you're not quite intended to be right here right yet. Which is okay. We like doing stuff like that. But this level also has a mystery jar in it. It actually has a really fickle mystery jar because you actually have a super fireball power up. So we're gonna do a lot of backtracking. So I'm skipping a lot of gems right now. Basically, if I'm worth my salt, I get into this portal right here before this power runs out. Luckily, I did. So this is Jack. He wants to get to the top. Something about a golden goose. I don't really know. He got scammed by moneybags pretty much.
He said they were magic.
So this has a good amount of like tricks to it. First one is a charge jump, which I just got, which is great. And it lets me kind of get over here a little bit early. And the second one is a spin jump, which I haven't covered yet because I don't think we've really ran into it. But if you spin and jump, as is the name, you actually gain a little bit of height in the air. And that allows you to get on those mushrooms, like you saw me do. And so that lets me skip a good portion of the challenge. The other trick that I didn't quite talk about was if you charge a little bit before you, like I just did right there, right before you jump, you gain a little bit of extra height. And this lets you skip a decent amount of the challenge as well. So these two little strats are very, very important in this part of the level. And it's very easy to like have something just not go right. Like this spin jump, these spin jumps are fickle. I'm actually not on the right spot. I need to be over here. I don't know if some spots are actually better than others, but alright, that was bad. This is really bad. Help me, thank you. Cool. So now this is the first instance of possibly getting 1.0'd. It's a great meme. It's also very funny. So I'm gonna head bash this wood here, and on 1.0, there's a chance it's just gonna spawn back immediately, and I can't break it anymore. So let's see. Nope. Oh, no meme. So as I mentioned before, one of the version differences is that some of the bugs in the first version are patched. Wait, yeah, okay. Don't screw me like that. Slightly exciting part coming up. There's going to be a lot of gems that I have to collect, but it's not as cool as Spyro 1 because they're not all 25 gems. Oh, okay, I didn't want that. Basically, there's a bunch of these, I don't even know what you would call them. I don't know why I did that. Let's do that. I don't know, bottle rocket jars? And I just need to set them all off. But I kind of have to be careful because Sparks isn't the greatest at picking up gems. So I sometimes have to go a little bit slower to make sure he gets everything. If you noticed, I could actually have the option to go to the end of the level, right at the very beginning of the level. But it doesn't matter because I have to kill that one cat wizard right there in order to trigger the end of the level. So it's literally all riding on that one cat wizard. Imagine a cat lizard. I don't think the world's ready. I'm not ready. Hybrid animals. Who'da thunk it? Alright, so coming up is actually the very last time we will ever see Sergeant Bird in this run. The little challenges that involve cat witches. It's kind of the exact same thing the entire time. Not the most exciting, but it's pretty interesting to see it done well. And we'll see if I can do it well. Cool. So the hardest part about this is getting the first cat wizard because you're far away. But if you shoot your rocket right about when you're about to pull up, which is right about when you're even with where they spawn, maybe a little bit higher, you shoot your rocket then, and that's a good setup for getting that very first cat wizard witch person. Like so. After that, you get very close, and then you listen for their sound to stop, and very slightly after that is when you shoot. Like so. That was perfect. I've gotten to the point in which I don't really miss cat wizards anymore, witches. It's actually a huge meme if I do, like most things that I miss. Coming up, we actually have like the first accidental thing that I found in this game when I was first starting out. It's called the Vanny Glide. I named it after myself because my ego is huge. And that saves about 3 seconds over an old strat involving like a very convoluted way to get to that egg from where you were. Basically, when I was learning this game, I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I started gliding from there, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. Cool. And then somebody's like, oh, I think it saves time. And then somebody else tested it. I didn't... Come on. Alright. I'm bad. I'm sorry. I have to be very careful with this mystery jar, because if I get these mystery jars too far away, then while the mystery jar itself will move, the gems don't move, if that makes any sense. So what can happen is I will get to the end of the level, where the last mystery jar location is, and I will break the mystery jar, and there will not be any gems in the mystery jar, and it'll just be like, well, what's going on, man? I'm tripping. Stumbling. So you have to just be close enough that the gems register, you know, moving. It's really the really, I don't know, the crux of it. Crust. Whatever you want to say. Cool, I got everything. 12 out of 12. I could take a 12 out of 12. It's not quite an 11, but it's alright. Alright, so coming up now, we have another doozy of a level. This is actually the longest level in the game. This is the only level in the game that has a segment time over 10 minutes. Everything else has been cut down below 10 minutes. And in fact, this is the only one that still has one that's above 11. This is a Lost Fleet. Lost Fleet. There's a lot to Lost Fleet. It's a decently big level, and then it's got the third instance of skateboarding, which is actually a race, and then it has subs. All of those things take a while. Like we're talking like 3 minutes for skateboarding, and then like two and a half maybe for subs. That already right there is like 5.5. It's a lot. And these birds on the cannon can really screw you over. So right here I'm kind of quote-unquote racing against the clock. There's a cycle I want to hit for these birds in the beginning. It's not too hard to hit at all. Just an afterthought, really. In fact, I'm doing very well with it so far. So I actually forgot to do something, but that's not a big deal. Should be good. I missed. This is bad. I mean, it's actually really bad. I should never have missed this. There we go. Okay, so that was not the best beginning, and I apologize to everybody I let down. I've never really been a big fan of those birds. That one shouldn't have gone that poorly. I'm actually really good at the first cannons. Every cannon that isn't the last cannon I'm good at. But even then, I used to be good at the last cannon. I just took a break from this game. So, this level introduces a mechanic involving water. And it's actually like, I don't even know, acid water? See, that was beautiful. That was exactly what I wanted. So I can go in this water when I have a power-up. Otherwise I'll take damage right now. So you're going to see the power-up in a minute. It's going to help me do some stuff and eat some stuff. You can proxy off this chest. I've never done it, but that's pretty cool. Alright, so I missed that one gem, but I'm going to be coming back anyways. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so basically, you can get a swim in air in this level, except you need the power-up, otherwise it will try and kill you. Because there's no like normal water physics. Well, there's water physics, but there's no normal water swimming. It's not loaded in this level. It only has this like acid water, which you need the power up for. I got something in my ditches. Coming up right here is going to be the third skateboarding, as I said, which is a race. It's going to be 2 races. My gem count is good. I'm going to come out with 96. I go in with 96, I come out with 96. So basically for this first race, I just need to beat these chumps here. And it introduces this new mechanic involving tricks that builds up turbocharge when you do tricks. So you want to do the best tricks, and only the best tricks. Because that gives you the most. So basically my goal is to be turbocharging pretty much the entire race. It's not too difficult, but like I said, sometimes you can get screwed over with the trick detection in this game. It's not the best. Sometimes you won't get as much speed or power up as you would want. I have 2 Dukes of Cleanup here, which isn't a big deal. I didn't get it. It's kind of a big deal. I'm going to be passing through this. I'm doing 6 laps total, which is kind of a lot. I just like to get all the gems in the first pass because, why not? Luckily, I don't have to worry about this so much in this first race, but in the second race, I have to be very, very, very careful not to touch some of these walls. Because these races have checkpoints, quote-unquote checkpoints, that the game has in place so that you can't just like go backwards and cheat. There are ways around that. We'll see that later in the fourth skateboarding area. But if I were to go on a wall in the second race coming up, there's a chance that I miss one of these checkpoints for some stupid reason, and basically I lose the race right there. The second one I'm facing Hunter, with the added caveat that I have to get all the crabs. Like, why? I don't really know. It's silly. This is a silly game for silly folk, and here we all are enjoying this silly game. So the hardest one is that very first crab in the beginning, which luckily I got. And this is a shortcut technically, but it also has a crab in it. I'm gonna hope Hunter goes down and gets that other crab not in the shortcut, which he didn't though. That just means that I have to go down the slower path and get the crab. Just want to make sure I get this. Not a huge deal, really. But yeah, if I were to finish in first and not have all 10 crabs, then I would actually lose the race. I don't really know why it's like this, but I don't know, memes. Yeah, so far I've been pretty good about not touching the wall. I've had it happen where I've just randomly not even touched a wall and completely been screwed. You'll pass by where you should actually progress through the lap, and it just won't progress. And then suddenly you'll be in second, and Hunter is nowhere in sight. Really dumb. It's a bad meme. Would not recommend out of 10. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Not the fastest, but that's okay. Alright, so that went really well. I'm happy. Next up, we got a little bit more cleanup, and then we're going to be going into subs. So these crabs are actually really laughably programmed. They're kind of programmed that when they aggro on you, they go after you, but it doesn't always work. And that's very, very, very noticeable right in this area, because there's a bunch of them. You can also jump on that. My girlfriend taught me that. She accidentally did it, so shout outs to her. Alright, those crabs are actually pretty okay. They didn't really like screw up, but they didn't also like help me. This is the last cannon, by far the worst cannon. I hate it. I'm gonna mess up a lot, so I apologize in advance if I offend anybody. I used to be good at this, but then, like I said, I stopped playing. Come on, get it, get it, get it! Alright, cool. Alright, guy's not coming in. That's not getting him. No, no, no. This guy is easy. Easy peasy. I shouldn't be missing him ever. I hate this bird. I hate these birds. I like birds in general, but cool. Alright. So fun fact about this, if you land on the right side, there's a seam right there. You need to land on the right side of the seam. You can get that trick. Otherwise, you'll just flop. So coming up is subs. Subs 1 and 2. Luckily, we have a route. These guys react to you based on where you are. And Alex Dust was the one who came up with the route for this, I'm pretty sure. So shoutouts to shoutouts. Alright, him. Cool, I got a no-scope. That's always hype. Immer hype. That's going to allow me to kind of get this a little bit faster. Good. So I got an extra one. That third guy I got there, I'm not really supposed to get that early. Unless, of course, I get a snipe like I did. Which is great, because subs 1 is arguably harder than subs 2. And I got a no-scope. This is pretty nifty. Golly gee, if I do say so myself. Alright, subs 2. There is an added sub. They take a little bit of different routes, I'm pretty sure, and some of them also drop mines, so you just kind of want to avoid that. You can't use the mines for anything, there's no crafting involved, unfortunately, you just gotta avoid them. I have to dig myself into the edge here, because I want this guy on the right. I do not want to aggro, I don't want to target this left guy first. just because then things get kind of clowny. Cool. This is shaping up very, very nicely. Usually, if they don't fire missiles, or I'm sorry, mines, they move in very sporadic ways, and they're very hard to like target. This guy I'm gonna just try to no scope, but yeah, like that. So 3 no scopes, pretty sure. That's pretty okay hand sign fire. Now I have to go collect all those gems, because for some stupid reason, you're not allowed to collect them in the sub. That would be pretty awesome if that could happen. So we got this route. It's pretty tight, but it's pretty doable. So I'm gonna make it happen. And basically, I'm only going to get that power up one more time. That right there, those 2 like underwater vases right there, is probably the hardest part in this beginning section. But yeah, now I'm gonna end up with 30. 7730 is gonna be the number I'm gonna end with. Because I came in with 30, ending this level. And so I'm collecting 19 single gems in this 1 power-up time. Like I said, it's tight, but it's very, very doable. And the more you play, the easier it gets for you. So, cool. That was a really good level, with the exception of the birds. If the birds had gone better, that could probably be like the goat fleet. All right, so coming up, we have our entry into the third vehicle. The third side character. I mean, they're technically vehicles, but third side character here, Bentley. We saw him earlier. We're gonna skip paying money bags yet again. It's a common theme. But to do that, we're gonna go out of bounds. There's no swim in air in this, actually. There is. It's a little bit convoluted. I'm not gonna go into that because we don't do it in this one. But I'm gonna do an out of bounds glide, and I have to be very careful to not enter the water, because if I enter the water too low, I've kind of soft locked. But I could always save and quit and re-enter the game and be okay. Basically, there's a portal yet again stored underneath where the actual portal would be. And I'm going to take advantage of that and jump into it. Glide into it, rather. As you're going to see right here. I went too low. I'm dead. I'm not dead! Let's go! There's 2 different ways to go into that portal. You can do more direct like I did, or you can go around to the right side. The right side's slightly slower, but it's safer. The cool thing about 117 is that you don't have to worry about entering the Speedway portal there, because Speedway portal is already open, so it doesn't need to be stored anywhere. Alright, so like I said, this is the third side character's home world. I need to get that gem. Bentley. There's not a whole lot to this level. It kind of loops. It's pretty cool. Not a whole lot to it. I'm trying to use Bartholomew here. That's Bentley's brother. Little brother. He pushes you when he moves. So there's some camera manipulation you can do here to get a good cycle. I didn't do anything, but I got the good cycle. So shoutouts to that. I love just being able to do that. You can also, with these big giant metal strong chests in the stack, I'm dumb, sorry. You can get them a hit early, like I missed before, but I'm gonna get here. Just kind of by delaying your jump. Alright, I was like, what are you getting stuck on, man? I didn't get it. I'm so sorry. Alright, so once you hear 2 steps there, you can progress. The box has moved out of the way enough. My boy Jeremy Thompson taught me that trick. Or that really like sound cue, really. I was trying to go for world record proxy there, and I unfortunately failed it. Something bad. I learned about how to do that like, I don't know, 3 hours before I started this run. I did it once successfully, so I'm like, I'm good enough. Let's go. I'm so sorry, everybody. I know I let everyone down. Just cut the stream now. End Spyrothon. It's over. You can hit Bartholomew there, make him squished. It's fun. Doesn't lose you anything. It's right about here that I used to realize, like, oh wow, Fireworks Factory is the next level I have to do. It's alright, I'm gonna go for UFO proxy, and I'm gonna revive the hype. Everybody's gonna be like, Vanny, no TV Annie, the hype bringer. Nobody's gonna even remember that this was even a thing. Like I said, this is kind of like the loop back. Kind of maybe sort of maybe didn't notice there was a strong chest on a ledge above near the beginning of the game level that I couldn't get. I'm gonna go get that now. I didn't need to stop there, I'm sorry. 38 is a good number right there. Ah, I missed this. That's unfortunate. Bentley has a huge hitbox, so he can get gems really, really, really easily. I'm backing up dust there. So, coming up is a very notorious level. A fun level, though. It's a pretty fun level. Very hard, though. Fireworks Factory. This has two big doozies of side areas. First one we're going to find is Agent 9, who is the fourth side character in the game. And he has a first-person bit in which you get to move around and do some stuff. And the second one is Double Dragons. And Double Dragons is... ooh, that's a doozy. I'm going to go for a proxy right here called Firefly. It's very important in any percent. I'm not actually going for it. It's important in any percent. It doesn't save a whole lot in 117, which is great because it's a dumb proxy. Dumb things to do. I have a cycle I want to catch here with one of these big guys, but I also want to be careful because I've shot that rocket there and I've turned away pretty quick, and the strong chest just doesn't explode, and then I'm very pooper pained after that. Cool, so I managed to get the cycle I wanted. Sometimes those thieves that are by the bridge will just go to the other side for some reason. And then in addition to that, I also got that big Rhinoc. I actually managed to, ooh, I need that. Flame his back, which is like, I don't know, it catches on fire and then he panics and he runs into a wall and explodes. It's a little bit morbid, but I mean, that's what happens. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Let's see it here, except instead of flaming his back, I'm just going to outright blow him up. We got some really cool things coming up. These are dragon cannons. You gotta be very careful with these ninjas because you don't really ever want to flame them. They will like ruin your day, as you clearly saw. Luckily I was in a cutscene and Spyro didn't take damage. There's a later part in Agent 9 I'll bring up again about taking damage in a cutscene. It's kind of interesting. I don't really know why it's a thing. I'm just gonna do this in case. Sometimes those two will line up very nicely. Kind of depends on how you move in the level. So that they're both next to each other, so when you blow up one of them, you light the flame on their backpack, and the other one goes and charges and dies, and you don't have to go after them. This strong chest here is like a really dumb gem. That green gem that I got in the air, like a pro, if you don't get it, it actually just falls off the edge. Which it doesn't matter if you're doing the proxy route, because at this point you haven't actually gone down there. But yeah. Cool. So I got this manipulation. Oh no, I didn't. I'm an ape. I'm so... What the heck are you doing? Alright, so sometimes you have to hide and then do that. So basically what I did there was an attempt to save myself some time in getting a rocket and coming back and shooting those guys twice. There's two of them. You kind of just manipulate them to start moving, and they don't target you which you haven't quite seen, but when they target you, they will not let you hit their backpack. I got lucky pretty much there too, that I could do that. Alright. Did I get this? Yeah, okay. Let's see what this guy... Yeah, so this guy's not gonna let me target him, or shoot him. Alright, I'm just gonna miss. Good meme. Yeah, I deserve that. I deserve everything. This is an awkward room. I don't really have any sort of route. So this last time I played this, I think, but... Hello? I just kind of wing it and hope for the best. Jerk. Luckily, I don't really need sparks to be at full health after this. But anyway, coming up is going to be a notorious part of this level. This is Agent 9 in first person in Fireworks Factory. It is very hard to do. It's very annoying and it's very hard to go fast. But there is a trick that I can play as Spyro in Agent 9's portion of the level. It's called Agent Spyro, and it's a frame-perfect trick. I'm going to see if I can get it. Thanks for portal bleeding right there. Nope, I didn't get it. So if I had gotten a pause, I could have charged through, died, and played as Spyro during this. I would have been in first-person Spyro, which is really goofy. But instead, I get to show this off, because I love this part. I've put a lot of time into this. So... If you were watching Spyrothon, I'm sure you saw this earlier in the other runs. But you probably haven't seen it like this, because they probably just went uncontrollably fast and didn't have to worry about the gems. I have to worry about the gems, and that's where the difficulty comes from. But as I said, this is the one thing in the game that I've put the most time into, and it's arguably a backup. So I like doing this. This is a lot of fun for me, but I've also taken the time and put in a lot of time for this. The method, or the glitch movement I'm using is called strafe pumping. Basically what I'm doing is just holding a direction, holding one of the strafe buttons, and mashing the other strafe button. And this gives me a dumb amount of speed. And here we are. Later you're going to see me play as Agent 9 in third person mode. And strafe pumping works slightly different there. In third-person mode, you actually have to hold a diagonal direction, and it's a bit more fickle. You kind of have to be careful with how you're moving. But first-person mode is a lot easier. Another interesting thing is that it's actually faster to be Agent 9 if you can get, like, task tier movement, which nobody can. Agent Spyro saves about 20 seconds for me. But if I had perfect task movement, then I couldn't even describe it. Watch the task for this part. It's really good. I didn't take any damage. That's really good. Happy about that.
Thanks for what.
Yeah, you only have to hold the diagonal for third person. First person, you just have to be holding any direction. So obviously you need the movement. Alright, so next up we have double dragons. This is an annoying challenge because there are these two dragons with their long dragons, and their HP is their body, and their body kind of respawns over time, and it breaks as you break them. They move based on how you're moving, but we don't really know enough to manipulate them perfectly, or at all, really. So I gotta hope that he's not gonna be, both of them are gonna be utter buttholes. If they go into this tunnel, like that one just did, then I'm gonna be butthurt. So, when they go in tunnels, you can't really catch them. It's hard. You can lose a lot of time on this. That was actually really good. That was a good first dragon. I'm pretty happy with that one. That's not where I wanted to go, man. I generally do the gem collect in between the dragons. I've already damaged the dragon, so it might not be the best thing because it'll grow some health back. Ooh, I need that. But this is just kind of what I traditionally have done. Did he go in there? Ah, you butthead. I'm gonna just go in here. Sometimes I'll save this tunnel for the end after I've killed both of the dragons and get the gems in there, but it's annoying. This is annoying too. Oh, did I get that? I got it apparently. So ideally you want to get them in this circle, like I might have just gotten. yes, this is almost good. Except I said something about it, so I ruined everything. Alright, don't go down. Don't go in. Don't go in. Alright, that was a good first dragon, an okay second dragon, and my gem collection could have been a lot better. I'm just gonna double check to make sure I have all the gems. Okay. I figured I did, but it's worth giving a check. And that is Fireworks Factory. Like I said, it's a fun level, but it's a tough level. But we're not out of the gauntlet yet. We're actually going to Frozen Altars. So one interesting thing about this game is that cutscene right there is Hunter. Actually, no, this happened earlier. This happened after Bentley. There's a brief cutscene that I skipped really quick, in which Hunter gets captured. And what that means is that any place that has Hunter in it, Hunter will not be there. And you actually have to beat the boss and come back. So we route this route in this homeworld specifically so that we cover every single Hunter challenge before that happens. So we don't have to do any sort of like backtracking or time loss or anything like that. Right here, I'm going to try a proxy. It's arguably the easiest proxy in the game, but probably one I'm the worst at. I also have like this, I don't know, setup. Save some time. I didn't get it. I'm an ape. So basically, I would have had to skip, or I would have gotten to skip coming into there, and that would have been fast. I'm really bad at that proxy, even though it's the easiest proxy in the game, pretty much. That was not a good death animation. But yes, so this is Frozen Altars. It's another notorious level. It has boxing. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. PlayStation 1. Sony. But before that, we're gonna like melt some evil snowmen. I don't really know. I don't know the lore behind this one. I could make something up if everybody wants. Tell you a stupid tale about something dumb. There's a really cool little wall glide here. Saves a good amount of time. I didn't get it. Oh, I got it. Cool. It's very easy, and it's nice. I highly recommend it to everybody. Because usually you would go back, freeze the guy, step on him, and then jump over to here. So if I'd gotten that proxy earlier, I would have gotten these 3 gems up here. I would have not had to go and do this. But you win some, you lose some. I lose a good few, so here we are. That, you literally just hold jump and charge, and you can jump all the way over there. Yeah, pretty much, Burger. Alright, so now we have boxing. So this is literally just like tap square rhythmically to win. You can't just mash it. You have to do it rhythmically. Actually to the tune of All the Single Ladies. All the Single Ladies. All the Single Ladies. You know, you get that song stuck in your head, you go to town. There are 2 parts to this. There's Boxing 1 and there's Boxing 2. Boxing 2 is so much worse because you can go 3 rounds. You have the option to going 3 rounds. And he has more health, you have more health. Whereas this one is 1 round and done. Even if you don't, like, somebody's health doesn't go all the way to the bottom. That was okay. You generally want to hit in the 40s, but a 38 is definitely not bad. I'm going to try to go for a 1 round here. So, like I said, you want these quick jabs to the head, and you also want to break his guard, which you'll kind of see sometimes, because for whatever reason, that gives me damage equal to a big swing. I'm not getting any luck right now. This is very RNG dependent on how he decides he wants to be. He can either be a huge, huge jerk, like he kind of is. Alright. Basically what you want to do is every time you take damage, you want to step back a little bit. And let him swing again so that you can get an opening. I'm kind of doing it, but he doesn't always comply. This has been a very bad boxing, too, so far. And like I said, it's very RNG dependent, but you can get decently consistent results. It's unfortunate I have to go into the second round, but not the worst thing in the world. And after each round, everybody's health kind of slightly regens. Jesus Christ, he's being very mean. I didn't get my square input there. That's fantastic. Chance to crash Bandicoot and your dropped inputs. Alright, that was actually really bad. Usually you want to land in like the upper 30s if you get the second round, but whatever. I made it through. That challenge is a notorious challenge. A lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people struggle with it as kids, especially. It was a gatekeeper for me, I'd say. The next challenge we have is cat hockey, which, if you're familiar with hockey, the sport, it's very similar to that, except there are cats. And instead of a hockey stick, you freeze these cats. And instead of a puck, you push all the cats into your goal. This is the only other time we ever pay money backs. We can get back there with the Mammoth Proxy, but we don't have a route that's faster than this route, currently, at least. Basically, I just need to get 5 cats into my goal. It's kind of interesting because ice physics are wonky, and this guy's a jerk. I'm not actually going to flame him, because that's bad karma. I don't want to get bad karma. Decent start, luckily. Sometimes that guy can just go absolute ham, and like there's nothing you can do. He suddenly just has 5 cats, and you're at like 2, and you're like, haha, what's going on, man? I don't know what he's doing. Is he over there eating paste or something? Seriously. What are you doing? Can I go for a no-hitter? Ah, rip. Rip everything. Rip the dream. I'm screwed. I hate doing that. Like I said, you gotta be very careful, because their momentum kind of sticks when you freeze them. That was okay. It could have been a little bit faster. Is there anything else to this level? No, not really. This unskippable cutscene right here. Pretty legendary, I'd say. Not really. It's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. You have some more enemies right here that don't have gems for some reason. I didn't mention it, but in Charmed Ridge, there was an enemy at the end that didn't have a gem. Don't really know quite why they're in the game, but... This little ending, sometimes you can get this guy. When you freeze him, you can charge on top of him, and then actually kill him while he's frozen and get his gem, which is slightly faster than just doing what I did there. Alright, so unfortunately, since we're underwater, we don't get teleported directly to the boss. Or at least the vehicle that takes us to the boss. But this next boss is obviously the third boss, so in the third homeworld. Oh, good bonk. This third boss is Scorch, and not the level from Spyro 2, mind you. Cool. So that was the last cutscene we'll ever see in the game, and I didn't crash. So fantastic. I didn't mention this before, but I'm on PS2 with fast disk speed, which lets PS1 games load faster because it spins the discs faster. This was not traditionally used for Spyro 3 because on cutscenes it would crash if you had fast disk speed enabled. So everybody for a long time played on SDS. And then the switch seems to have been started to go to FDS. There is a faster version of the game on a PS TV. Oh, I didn't expect that. But I'm not on that. And that one you don't have to worry about the crashes. But anyway, so this is Scorch. There's a lot of RNG to this boss. You don't want the green rockets, you want the red rockets, because again, like with the Sparks levels, all of these power-ups do the exact same thing. all of these power-ups do the exact same damage. That wasn't the best RNG, both from Bentley and from Scorch. Ideally, you want his burst attack, which I don't think we even saw there. And you don't want those like weasels with the TNT. It's unfortunate, but it's not a huge deal. I came out with Sparks. That's a good thing. Coming up now, we're going to have the third Sparks level. This is Starfish Reef. Starfish Reefer. And it's probably the hardest casualty, I'd say. It's got the hardest boss to it. It's also got the most fun boss to it. So this level actually loops around. It's pretty unique. And there's also an out of bounds that we don't go for because it makes things very, very, very hard. And there's a very good chance that it'll just lock up on you. Like you'll enter a room and then you couldn't leave the room. So the way this level works is that you have to clear out all of the enemies in order to progress in order to open the door and progress. But if you beat the boss, everything unlocks. But if you beat the boss earlier than the game kind of thinks you should be, then the game gets really confused sometimes, and you'll enter a room that's clearly open, and the door will close. I think that's how it works. Yeah, this is bad. Not that bad, though. Don't go for it yet, yes. Soon. Very soon. I have to be careful here not to be an idiot boy. So I'm going to take this a little bit slower. So I don't want to die. Dying is slow. I take these levels pretty stupidly. I try to go fast, very fast. Sometimes too fast. Alright, so I'm like I said, I'm doing some dumb things. Okay. So that power up right there, I have the option of getting, but if I don't get it, it makes this run easier. But I have to be careful not to get it, because this is the last machine gun power up in the level. And if I get this one, then I lose a lot of time. It's kind of a little bit random in how that guy moves, so you just have to be a little bit mindful. I like to get this gem. I don't really know why. Just something I've kind of always done. Those eels that shoot the fire at you, they move based on where you are, so it's not the direction I quite wanted. Cool. This turned around a little bit. I got some more sparks. I'm happy about that. This room was probably the bane of my existence as a kid. I don't really know why. Those eels aren't fun, casually. Alright, so now we're on to the boss. And like I said, this is the most fun boss, but it's also the hardest. It splits when you do enough damage. And then it starts shooting like these little, like, manta rays after you. I want that, thanks. And you also kind of take some damage, intentionally. Oh, I'm missing everything. I'm being bad. So it's very easy if you don't have this power up to get overwhelmed by those little manta rays. TM. LLC. So I'm good on gems. That's great. So this third power up that I'm gonna get is the extra hit for Spyro, however you want to talk about it.
When I saw that,
So I can actually take one more hit of damage when Sparks is full. And for whatever reason, the developers decided that to show this, they were going to have an extra sparkly golden sparks. It's very not that noticeable. It's very easy to miss. All right, that's the end of that homeworld. So now we're on to the final homeworld, Midnight Mountain, which I believe is the second fastest homeworld. This is probably my favorite homeworld. I really enjoy the movement and some of the levels in this. And then you get another power-up from Sparks. That's a lot of fun, and it makes this game just so much more enjoyable. Good bit of lag right there, just because, why not? But first up, we're actually going to fight the final boss. This is the Sorceress. She is a butthead. Capital B, capital H. Actually capitalize all the letters. She's a big butthead. A lot can go wrong, and a lot will go wrong. But I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to put 117% forward. I hope you all can at least appreciate that. Thank you in advance. Does it depend if you complete SPR?
You did it, Spyro.
Okay. And then yeah, at the end, once we get 100%, we're going to go into the super bonus round, which is also in this homeworld. That's probably one of my favorite levels in the game. So this is Sock Dress. Take note of the music. It's not final bossy. Like I said, 1.0 doesn't have the correct tracks playing. I think this track is actually in the game, but for whatever reason, it's just not coming out. There are 3 phases of this fight, and I kind of just screwed up already. Dang. First phase is cannon phase. Well, they're all kind of cannons in their own right. Good. Okay. Second phase is the trolley phase. Okay, or I could get a cannon. I'm botching this, I apologize. People dream of getting this. So there's a quote-unquote like God cycle with the Sorceress, in which you can actually get a UFO skip, as well as a trolley skip. And you have to get very lucky that Agent 9 drops you an extra cannon, and then that drops you an extra trolley. And lets you skip the UFO. The trolley is the GOAT weapon of choice, because as you saw, I got her in a loop in which I was just firing at her, and then she would back up. I don't know why I did that. I wanted him to drop that, but I might die. Instead, now he's going to drop these. Alright, let's hope that I don't screw this up, because I hate this fight. So if I had gotten UFO skip, I wouldn't need to be on here with these wonky-ass controls. But here we are, so... I could have gone for that, but I didn't. This, like, sheep is making me very nervous. Alright, that went pretty badly. It's not the worst fight. I didn't get to put enough time into this fight as I would have liked coming back into this. Yeah, that's George. So now that's the final boss. Can be done, kind of. But in doing the final boss first, a couple of things happen. The first is that it allows me to go into the final Sparks level, and as a result, get the final Sparks power-up, which is fast. The second thing is it gets rid of all money bags, as well as spawns money bags in a part of the level, the area. So I don't have to pay for the 4th side character, Agent 9. I don't even have to skip into him. In fact, I don't even think it's possible to skip into him. But first I gotta go through Bugbot Factory to get Sparks power up. This is a pretty cool level. It's got these thief bugs, not like the runner, but I mean they do run. And these, I don't even know what you want to call them. These like spawning canisters actually move. It's interesting. It's dynamic. Yeah, that was good. And now we have some more invincibility, which is nice because it just makes this next section so much nicer. Except that I screwed up. So sometimes those thief bugs right there can get stuck, and it'll actually stay on screen after you've gotten their key. Doesn't happen very often, but it's pretty funny when it does because you can still chase them. Like I said, they just don't have a key. Now I'm gonna go pretty silly, and I'm gonna try to skip as much killing as I possibly can because killing is wrong. Except for right here. I need these gems. But these ladybugs, I can skip. I don't actually need to kill these guys. Same with these guys. But not these guys are in the way. Ooh, okay. Basically, I have to go and get a key to enter the final boss, which is off to the right. Final boss of this area, level. Ooh, okay, there we go. The final boss is, well, this one also splits up, but this one's not difficult, I'd say, at all. You just kind of have to be mindful that he shoots horns at you, or something. So just don't be by his head. Cool, this went well. Yeah, that went really well. So cool. Now, the final Sparks power-up that we're about to get, you're going to see demonstrated immediately. Sparks now has the power, all the power. He can break vases and baskets, like so. And that's going to help because that extends the range in which I can collect things. And the great news... I missed that gem. That's good. I saw that. The great news is that I can just charge next to something, like so. And Sparks will pull it in. I don't even have to worry about picking it back up. So like I said, if we could tap into this power-up earlier in the run, we could do some really nice stuff with this run. So you'll see a lot of interesting routing now. Cutting more corners. This is a nice little thing you can do. Get to the end of the level immediately. It's called the Crimson Chin. You have to make sure you just glide enough, and then your hover can reach max distance, max height. It lets you get up here and see mouse tits. It's a fan favorite, apparently.
Well, well.
And yeah, 117 eggs right here. That's how you know you have all the eggs so far. And then after this, we're going to be going into a manta ray challenge. That is actually a pretty interesting challenge because there's a good amount of routing to it, but it's also like wonky enough that a lot can go wrong. So luckily there is a route for this now.
I've been training.
Well, there has been for a while. Which we can kind of like quote unquote one cycle it. This is it's pretty tough to hit because these rockets kind of don't fire exactly how you would expect. So sometimes you'll shoot at something you think you'll be able to hit, and you won't quite hit it. Like I almost did right there. This has gone really well. It's decently difficult to learn though, I will say that much. And this guy is gonna be right here. So that was perfect. That was exactly what I wanted. I'm glad that went well. Subs and that went well. Those three things going well was great. There's 2 subs, that's why it's 3. 1 plus 2. Not just pulling numbers out of my ass. This part, you can just, I don't know, you can just get spanked around. But good news is you don't need sparks too much, and you could have the option of getting another free life. We'll see what happens. So coming up, we have some like interestingly programmed texture terrain. This this hand right here is actually like a little bit more to the side than it actually appears. And so it's really tricky if you try to not hover because it looks like you don't need to hover there. But sometimes when you hover, or if you don't hover, you'll just get knocked off the edge. And that's, like I said, because the hitbox is actually does not match the visual cue. Coming up, this is like a very simple hold right to win kind of thing. It's like a 2D platforming section. I don't know, it's unique. It's weird seeing it in this game, I'd say. But you get 2 eggs from it, and you don't really have to do a whole lot. Like I said, I'm literally just holding right. Can't remember if I even let go of it. 2 eggs. 2 eggs you get from this. Not that hard. Right there. I think I normally do let go of it. There is one spot you have to be mindful of not falling into, and that's just because you can't quite get back out. Unless the platform bobs down enough. Then I think you're okay. So after this, there's some interesting movement right here to get some of these vases down here. Like so. And then a neat little, I don't know, trick right here. Just get up here. That scorpion over on that other platform that I didn't get doesn't have a gem. So, I don't really have to worry about him. You can actually proxy off of him. It's an animation proxy, but it's a little bit slower than doing that. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be trying to manage sparks well enough so that I can leave this level with 100% sparks, meaning like super gold sparks. Maybe not even so much leave this level, but enter the next level because I like having full health at that level. Cool. So I just need one more fodder and then I'll be okay. Luckily I can get it out here. I have plenty of options to get some. This next level is Agent 9's homeworld. Agent 9's lab specifically. As I mentioned, Agent 9 is the one with the strafe bumping, the fun movement. It's my favorite side character to play as. Actually, I might even like him more than playing as Spyro. Like, if they made a standalone game with the Agent 9 physics in this game, like, that would be game of the year every year. The game of all time. Not even the greatest of all time, just the game of all time. This is a very satisfying part.
Don't worry.
Casually, you put up with this guy, stealing all your gems, and then you get to chase him around, and you get this oh so satisfying like stream of gems just pouring from him. It's great. Since I didn't pay him that often, I paid him twice. I don't have to hit him too many times. If I had paid him one more time, like with Molten Crater, how I got the Boar proxy allowing me to skip paying him, I would have actually had to hit him one more time. So this is where the Boar proxy saves time as well. It's like twofold. So, like I said, more strafe pumping here. And I guess another escort mission. This is not the best beginning, but it's okay. Like I said, you kind of see me stuttering a little bit. This isn't quite the easiest thing to do, but you can still get some good results. Good. You need to stop these doors from spawning these Rhinox by hitting the buttons. Basically, for Agent 9, all you want to do is strafe pump everywhere. That is like your daily intake of fiber. You want it every day. You want to strafe pump all day, every day. As I said, we're kind of guiding the professor through here to the end. I don't really know why he needs to be at the end. He kind of doesn't do anything other than stand around. But maybe he just wants all these Norks out here.
You cleared them?
I think I got everything here. Luckily, Agent 9 can spin jump. Saves us having to go up there. You can get 2-ish hits off right there to get these birds early. which is nice because it saves a little bit of time. You don't have to really aim too much. But now it's like
Now I
Bird
can see.
Mageddon, and there's like a ton of birds that just pour out of this thing for some reason. I don't know what they're doing in there. Maybe they're on holiday. Basically, you just gotta take these guys out. Is there nobody in there? This guy's over here, huh? It's always this guy.
The
Pretty simple stuff. Train etiquette, pretty much. Just have to be mindful when you're straight pumping. Get everything. Go fast. I'm not quite going the fastest. Now we have little hand grenades. They're pretty nifty. They're gonna do some stuff for us. Like break this button. These balloons are very easy to forget. Whenever you pass through this arc, oh, that was bad. Always remember that you need to be aiming up, because there's 2 more on the other side that I'm gonna get as I pass through them. Wow, this guy's not in a good spot. So I should be able to get this little glitch. Call it the Tony dupe. It's not actually a dupe at all, but it's gonna tell me I already have this egg. And basically I'm standing where the game is gonna put me when it shows me this egg. So it starts the cutscene early, and then when the cutscene actually plays, it thinks I already have it. So I'm not actually duping any egg, but it's a little bit of an interesting thing. All you have to do is stand in the correct spot. Oh no, I didn't want to miss that. Okay, I'm gonna do a double check, make sure I got all the gems. That might not make it. Alright, so now we're gonna try a trick here called back to front. It saves a lot of time because instead of having to backtrack with these grenades to a strong chest that I missed in the beginning because I couldn't break it open, I'm going to not. I'm instead going to get maximum momentum. That was optimal. That was like the GOAT. Like everybody raise your hypers. I want to see those dongers in chat. Good level. Fantastic. I'm pretty hype, at least, so. So, we are at 3 on-foot levels left before the final level, as well as we also have the final speedway. This is Crystal Islands. It's got some really interesting movement to it. I enjoy this level. Just the way it feels. These like flying beaver things kind of are wonky, and these weird tree plants that explode, their debris is actually bonkable. So you have to kind of be a little bit mindful about where they're going. So you can just bonk on them for no reason. The cool little trick I'm going to go for right here involving these crystal steps that are going to spawn that you're hopefully not going to see. So you'll see here.
Would you like to see?
The Great Zamboni. Shout out to the Great Zamboni. Cool, I got it. So basically I prep myself. My entire body is prepped and ready. I'm going to just do that. For where those hitboxes are going to be. And that allows me to just skip kind of getting up there, because it's getting up those platforms can kind of be funny because they go up and down. So if we can skip it, that's good. Right here we have a swim in air, which I didn't. All right, cool. Second try is great. That swim in air is very similar to one in Spyro 2, in the very first homeworld. But the difference is it's actually more controllable in this game because the water level has like everything to do with whether or not you're going to get that. the water level, and then if you jump into water again, good. If you jump into water again, you're actually a little bit higher up, and that helps get that trick. So you want to wait until the water level's up high. And if you've just recently emerged, if you've just recently emerged from the water, then you're in a good spot. That is a lot of fun because you don't have to chase around that thief. He's not going to waste your time. It's pretty awesome. Charge straight through him. Now we have the last instance of Bentley. This is Magic Moles. It's a pretty interesting challenge because I'm going to take advantage of something in how the game's programmed. So I'm going to try to get all these gems and get 20 moles here. For some reason, these magic Mike people are messing around with moles. You're getting out of hand. So I'm on cleanup duty. Hopefully I'm just knocking out these moles and not like actually killing them. Otherwise I might stop playing this game. But the cool thing about this challenge is that right up here, there are 4 spawn points that only spawn moles. So the gimmick here is that some of those, as you just saw, spawn these Zamboni people, magicians. And you don't want to hit them. If you hit them, you automatically lose the challenge. So instead, you just go on a mole murdering spree right up here. And then once you have 19, as long as you have 15 or more seconds left, you go and you collect the rest of the gems, and that saves you some time. But you go for 15 seconds or higher because sometimes that last mole doesn't spawn right away. It's really dumb. I don't think they're dying. I don't think they're dying. We're good. Now we have a bit of an interesting thing. You're gonna see very momentarily. So there's usually a hit radius, so to speak, around people when you talk to them. Oops. And for the end of level egg here, for some reason there's a huge hit radius around this guy. And so we're actually going to take advantage of that. That's pretty favorable for a slight little trick, quote-unquote, thing we're going to do here. So I'm going to go up here, and instead of talking to him right away, I'm going to get this gem. And then I'm going to try to set myself up, like I just did, so that once this egg cutscene, which keep in mind how far away I actually am, egg cutscene's done, I'm entering this. So it's a good little optimized little thing. There's a cool task thing, pretty much task only. It's a frame perfect thing. If you trigger that egg cutscene and enter this portal at the exact same time, you load this level or this side area. And I don't exactly remember how it works, but you load it, but you're still in the overworld, like overworld level. If you watch the tasks, I definitely recommend watching this level. It's really cool. I think it was first found by Bucci, accidentally. I can't remember the origins of it specifically. Okay, but anyway, this is the first slide of the game. For some reason, they introduced in the very last homeworld. There's only 2 of these. The other one is, guess what, in the other next level. The Great Rigatoni. Is that like the flying spaghetti monster? I have a good gem count right here, so if I can remember which gems I'm supposed to jump into, I don't, but that's okay. Cool. Alright, so next up, we have the final level. No, wow, what am I even talking about? I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Take a seat. Young Skywalker. This is Haunted Tomb. And in the very beginning, I'm going to go for this skip that's going to let me get to the end of the level. It's called, there's a fast way and there's a slower way. And the fast way is called door skip. And otherwise it's just called door skip. So we'll see if I get it. You got to be a little bit precise in your movement. Don't think I'm going to get it. No, I think I'm okay. Cool. So if I hadn't gotten it fast like that, I would have been able to wait for that door to start to come back up, and I could jump on top of it and get to where I just was. But I got the fast strat, so that lets me go up there. So these guys give you riddles. Luckily, they're the exact same answer in the exact same spot every time. This is a long challenge that I don't want to do, so I'm going to skip it. No, I'm not. All right, hold on. Back up. I haven't had that happen to me in a long time. It's very unfortunate. I'm sorry.
My.
Let's try again. Okay. Okay. Don't know why I'm struggling with this. Hey, there we go. Good enough. So I'm just gonna skip this. Normally there's like 5 rooms of enemies, and there's like even more enemies and harder that you have to go through, but it's really slow, man. Really slow. So you can just pop yourself up here. You have to be careful with your strafe pumping up here because you can fall into one of the areas, and not everyone has a, at least that I know of, a way of getting out. But yeah, if you launch backwards like I did that first time, it's actually faster to leave the level, leave the area, and come back in. That hasn't happened to me in a long time. Let's see if I can get this little trick. Cool. I did. Alright, never mind. That's a really dumb trick. It doesn't save a whole lot. But if you charge jump on the further side of the thing here, then it doesn't put you in slide mode, and you can actually charge jump off of it. And that saves a little bit of time, but I got it, and then I died. So now we're actually going to be practicing alchemy. I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but Spyro is actually trained pretty well in alchemy. Going all that equivalent exchange and shit. So we're going to be exchanging mummy balls or something. These mummy balls function pretty much identical to those grenades that were in Agent 9's world. Because they're grenades. Through and through. But I need these because these enemies that are throwing them, and then these sarcophagi that you're going to see right here, can only be killed if you use one of these mummy balls. But in the meantime, we're going to do tanks. It's a pretty interesting challenge. It's hard to do it fast, so we're going to see how well I do. I'm going to channel my inner nerf. Good. Good. I could have damage boost right there to send myself flying, but I wasn't in a good enough position to do it. That was a good tank swing. That was almost ideal. Next is tanks 2. It adds 3 little side areas that you can kind of see in the distance, as well as 6 more of these guys. I'm gonna get that guy later, just because he's a butthead. Memes. You don't want that to happen.
You may now. My. Such a brave reptile you are.
Strafing makes this challenge a lot better. If you don't strafe, I highly recommend it. Just be careful and don't fall off the edge like me. I've made so many big mistakes this run, it's laughable. Kind of even forgetting to strafe. Good. You can actually shoot a rocket, cannonball up in the air like that. I'm not really doing that because, I don't know, you can get by without it. Basically, I just kind of don't want to die. I got beamed, straight up. Ooh. Alright, so that was bad. I'm sorry. I've dishonored my family. So, back to equivalent exchange. I'm so glad. If I had taken damage there, I would have been pretty butthurt. Hooper pained. Butt befuddled. Did I get all those gems? Yeah. You name it. Rump rustled. That's another good one. Okay, now we just do about 1.5 minutes of gem cleanup. Shoutouts to my absolute favorite skill point. The greatest skill point in the game. In any game of all time. 10 out of 10 on IGN. That's how you know it's good. They didn't even have to pay for it. So there is fodder right there that gets hit by that falling rocks. Luckily, Sparks didn't go for it, which is nice because I could just continue around like I did and get all the gems. Sometimes it's annoying when Sparks goes for it and you're trying to get those gems. Here, we're going to channel our inner Call of Duty and no scope. Pow! Right in the face. Mom, get the camera. All that good shit. And that's Haunted Tomb. It's a pretty spooky level, but not as spooky as this coming level. These are, get this, I don't know how high they were when they came up with this level. Actually, I don't know how high they were when they came up with some of these concepts in this game. But anyway, there are dinosaurs. Western dinosaurs, like cowboys and everything, with guns and cowboy hats and dynamite. Like, how? How did you come up with this? What did you do? What did you do? Yeah, so this level also introduces cacti. And cacti are unique in the sense that it takes forever for their gems to spawn. Some of these dinosaurs as well, but you can kind of play around that. This is a lot of fun. This is a good level. I like this level. I like how it feels. At least the overworld part of it. So coming up, everybody should always remember go clockwise right here because of the way that guy falls. And then if you have issues with this guy, flame charge him. And you're fine. Fine. Not fine. I would hate to be fined for doing something fast. Could you imagine? That'd be awful. Paying to be a speedrunner. Nobody would speedrun. Hey, he got me. Ooh, right in the kisser. So right here, we have a little bit of an interesting part. Especially right here at the end. This movement's pretty interesting, getting all these gems. And that guy, and this hidden egg. We're gonna see what's cooking. But the real issue is with this guy right here. Unfortunately, he's not in a good spot. Pretty sure, I think the running theory is it's a global cycle. 99 is a good turn count to have there. It's a global cycle, and that seahorse guy is somewhere, depending on how well you move them over. Again, just kind of gotta hit some stuff, leave it to like spawn its gem, and then go do some other stuff. This guy right here can kind of be a butthead, but luckily he was not a butthead, and I appreciate that, so thank you. Shoutouts to not being a butthead. So coming up right here is the second tunnel. The second tunnel is easier than the first because you don't have to hit anything. It's huge, it's wide open. There's no like randomness to it. Everything's pretty much scripted. So you just have to memorize a route and hope that you just don't mess up like an idiot boy. I am known to be an idiot boy, so let's all hold our breath. This isn't a long challenge, you're not going to pass out or anything. So I was almost an idiot boy. Egg. That's it. It was that simple. Nothing to write home about. Cool. Alright, next up we have the last instance of Agent 9. And this is kind of first-person-y in a sense, but it's an auto-scroller in the beginning, and then we're going to go through and we're going to collect all the gems. First things first, we have this like arcade shoot-'em-up thing. You know, you like pick up one of those, put some quarters in at the fun and stuff by your house or something. Just go to town, pointing at the screen. Really simple stuff. Shoot all the dinosaurs. You have to be very careful with the blue dinosaurs because the blue dinosaurs, as soon as they come in and stop walking, they will throw their dynamite at you. The green ones have to throw out their guns and, you know, go through the whole motions before they shoot you. But I just off-screen shot the last dino. But if a green dinosaur jumps down, then they immediately can start shooting. So you have to be very mindful of those as well. But you don't see any of those. Well, you see them coming up very soon, but you don't see them mainly until the last two areas. Really, here's a speed tech thing I'm gonna go for. I didn't get it. I actually shot too early. That dinosaur can spawn in, and if you shoot him early enough and you get a good enough death animation, he can break one of those baskets that's back there. And that just saves you a slight amount of time later. It's very interesting. And then the only other bit of speed tech is you want to kill the last dinosaur as early as possible. And that way you can progress to the next screen as fast as possible. I didn't get that dinosaur in the background because that's a skill point, and that would restore me to 100% health, but I don't really think I need the health right now. If I die, then, I don't know, I'll donate like $15. By the way, I'm donating $1 for every time I bonk, so if somebody could, you know, go back through this run and keep track of how many times I bonk, I'd appreciate that. I would like to donate an accurate amount of money to our cause. You're probably like, well, what are we raising money for? I thought this is not a charity donation thing. You're actually absolutely wrong. This entire time we've been raising money for No TV Annie's TV fund, so that poor Annie can afford a TV. You all are doing something very special being a part of this. I appreciate you all very much. Again, strafe pumping, clean up everything. You just have to be very careful not to shoot yourself off the edge, which I do more times than I'm really likely to admit. And then go around here, clean everything up. That's about it. That's usually where I run off. I almost did. Luckily I didn't. Momentum kills. Momentum really kills. Oh! Okay, I'm alive. Praise. 53 is the correct gem count. That means I can just outright leave this level.
Well,
And so now we're going to go into the penultimate level. Harbor Speedway. Which is a speedway, so it's not really all that exciting. So luckily, that head bash crate that I broke before I entered that level stays broke, which is kind of weird because you don't actually get the highest gem in it. So normally what would happen is you get the highest gem in a crate, and if you were to die or something, then that crate will not respawn. It'll actually just respawn all the gems. The speedway's pretty straightforward. And by pretty straightforward, I mean it's kind of convoluted, but once you know the route, it's pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot to it. I don't really understand this. Like, why are these fish on like these weird-ass moped things? Another reason why I think the developers of this game are like really high on their thoughts on this stuff. Like, can we take a minute to just talk about idle springs in Spyro 2? Like, why are you feeding a giant idle head fish? What happened? What happened? Okay. That was a good speedway. Great news. Next up is the race. It's the second longest race. Definitely also the hardest race casually, not so much speedrunning wise though. For whatever reason, there's like an obnoxious amount of rubber banding, like opposite rubber banding. These birds just kind of like shoot ahead of you if you don't really have them on camera. So this first place bird, you actually like, it's kind of hard to catch him, especially casually. It's like casually, I remember like I wouldn't always get him until like the third lap. And then in the other 3 races in a speedrunning setting, you're pretty much getting in the first lap or very soon into the second lap in the case of the first race. But here we're gonna get him like near the end of the second lap is when we're gonna get in the first. Or maybe it's more towards the middle, but it's a lot later than you would really expect. I apologize, my voice might be going a little bit. I don't talk this much usually. Yeah, not a whole lot to talk about in this one. There is a strat that not a whole lot of people go for. That rock right there that I just passed, you can charge off of. Saves like maybe half a second, but it's really hard to hit. And like it's so close to the water that if you do miss, you lose. It's game over, man. That was really shaky movement. I apologize. But yeah, so see, now I'm in first, which is great because that's where I want to be. Because I'm number 1. Not a whole lot to this one, or any of these really. At this point, your glide speed is very, very, very close to your charge speed, supercharge speed, so it's another interesting thing. Yeah, coming up after this part, we're going to do the Hunter Challenge. And the Hunter Challenge, of course, is an auto-scroller, but it also... it has a little quirk to it in 1.0, in which I could get a glitch called Hunter's Ass Glitch, in which I have to take an extra lap around following the UFO, because for some reason it doesn't shoot out one of its smoke rings, which you need to go through all the smoke rings. So... again, fastest way is through the race. I'm just gonna not even get this first ring and do that. I don't remember if I'm supposed to get both of those, but it's not a big deal. So yeah, this is, I don't know. You just follow this UFO. It's like smoking, and it has an egg, and it's about to crash, or so they think. So you follow it for a while, and you just have to go through all the smoke rings for some reason. I don't know. I mean, from a video game sense, it makes sense, but from like realistic, like what? That doesn't even make sense. But yeah, so there's like the 3rd to last ring or 4th to last ring that it produces can sometimes just not spawn in 1.0. And you can lose it's 50 seconds if you have to take another lap. Hunter's Ass Glitch, because it spending a lot more time looking at Hunter's ass. I kind of hope I get it, just for the meme. Like, why not, you know? Live it up. I didn't get it, but I can dream, Harold. But yeah, so after this we have Super Bonus Round. We're gonna get 100% in the Midnight Mountain homeworld, and then jump on into the bonus area. So the bonus area, first part of it has UFOs, and we're gonna skip in and get an early Fireball power-up. Superfly power-up as well. And this route is actually one I made myself. This is like one of the few things I've contributed to this game. It's a tight route, but it's really satisfying to hit. I love when this goes well. It's very, very, very satisfying. So I'm gonna try my best to get it. So right here, you can actually veer off immediately to the left after getting that gem. You'll spawn in Bianca about a second faster. But I'm not doing that because I don't want to be too fast, which sounds really dumb because I should do that for security purposes. But I don't know, here we are. So this is one thing I kind of found that makes my route possible. If you head bash right there, that thief manipulates right in front of you. And that just, that saves you a little bit of time. It makes this much more possible. This flop up here this is why this is a fun level, because you get this early, and you don't have to go through all the silly little Oh, I missed him. So usually you get 3 total gem streams coming in at once, and it gets really loud, and it's very, very, very satisfying. I like the word very. I don't know why. Not a big deal. Gonna lose me some time, but... did I get that purple gem? 5 gem? Whatever it's... I do have off colors on my screen for the record. Alright, so that wasn't the worst thing in the world. You can usually get into... Okay, I did. Haha! Memes. You can get into this portal at about 121-ish. This is most certainly not 121, so I apologize.
Hi, Spyro.
Submarine route right here takes about no more than 50 seconds if it all goes well. We'll see if it happens. Hope for the best. Okay, good start. That doesn't really save you a whole lot because you're gonna end up over here anyways. Getting this guy. At least for this route. There might be one better. That guy's not in position, which is unfortunate, but not a big deal. So I can just do that. This is the guy I was talking about. This guy might be over here now. If not, then he's not. Ah, you tricky booger. Alright, good amount of no-scopes right there. So for whatever reason, sometimes that last guy drops you a fodder, and I don't think it's sometimes, I think it's all the time. So, as you noticed, I had green sparks, now I have full sparks. So this is Yeti snowboarding racing, sledding racing, whatever the heck you want to call it. This is hard, so we're gonna kind of like take advantage of the checkpoint system, and we're just gonna kind of skip some stuff. I'm also gonna be going for a 1 cycle in this, in which I get all the gems, which is kind of hard to do. But as long as you're consistent, you can be okay. For whatever reason, we just have to go back here. That helps with the checkpoint. For whatever reason, Sparks does not initially join you for that first one. So that's why I don't really slow down and get any of those gems. I'll get them in the second pass. As you saw, you probably saw him like rush towards Spyro. Ooh, that was almost bad. I don't really know why that's the case, but it doesn't do it any other time after the first time. It's just that first time. So now we're gonna do the same thing. Spinny, spinny. Probably spinning too much, but it's okay. And then I'm gonna jump up here and get all these gems. This crab right here. Oh, he's going hero crab mode. Crap. Oh, cool. I got that. Hero crab is nobody wrestle with hero crab because he will mess you up. And I want that life with this extra HP in case I don't get UFO proxy for the sorceress. So yeah, after this is the final, the ultimate final boss. It is the worst thing in any video game. It is absolute garbage. So I'm gonna try to skip it. So here's the skip. And I got it. Cool. You have to veer off enough to get all those gems, otherwise Sparks doesn't do a good enough job, and your day's just kind of ruined. So I got the 1 cycle. That's great. But yeah, so the sorceress fight, you're on a UFO, and she's on a UFO, and she's firing at you. She does 2 things, and she has so much health. It's awful. It's awful. I do not want to do it. So I am going to actually try to get UFO proxy. Might have been a gem over there. Nope, I'm good on gems. UFO proxy is a proxy off a UFO. Novel stuff right there. And it lets me skip this entire fight. Because I hate this fight. I do not want to do this fight.
I don't know how she...
Come on, Bianca. Bless the
run.
run.
Borrow my flying saucer. I've cast some spells on it to give it extra firepower and unlimited flying time. But the rest is going to be up to you.
Yeah,
You
baby,
come
go!
this far, Spyro. I know you can
No! Oh. Alright, I'm just gonna do this normally. That was UFO proxy. You want to land on her, but there's a chance you won't land on her because of her cycle. It's really dumb. I hate it. So I'm gonna show off this fight that I hate so much. Just gank her, like, straight up. Get time. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you guys want to take some time to, say a few words, but I'd like to say a few words too. I want to thank all the Spyrothon organizers. You guys did a fantastic job. In addition to that, I want to thank everybody who put up with my 3 hours of babbling. Like, dude, that is a dream come true, let me tell you. You guys are all heroes in my book. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the donations as well. Sure, everyone will enjoy your TV. Yeah, thanks for watching. And thanks for having me. I'll leave it all to you guys.
That was great.
Yeah. Feel free to stick around for a few if you want. We're just gonna do an outro and all that.
What was my time?
3:13:46.
Okay, that was pretty not good.
I think you said you were expecting maybe like a 3:12. So I mean that's
Yeah.
close enough.
It works
So,
out.
that's-
It was under
it's
estimate.
almost second place. Right?
Okay.
Do we want to let these credits roll out? Do we want to do
We can let the credits roll out.
as well? Since it's the last one.
Credits music is good.
I'll dip out so there's no issue with the audio.
All right. I'm actually not sure how this will work. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Hopefully we can keep that game audio there for the credits then.
Yeah, because he's just deafened, so he's still on the call.
Yeah.
People are saying echo.
Maybe. Hopefully it's fixed. Somebody tell me. It seems better on my end at least. I'm gonna hope so. Anyway, yeah, that was Spyrothon 3. It was a fun time.
Yeah, I was amazed that the stream didn't really have any issues whatsoever.
Yeah, dropped 0.3% of the frames. I'm impressed by that.
And over 25 and a half hours, which is pretty nice as well.
Mhm.
It was just a minor little bit of a hiccup with 14 tally, but other than that, everything was pretty much just went according to plan. Ended up back exactly on schedule by the end of it.
Mhm.
Ended up being like close to 30 minutes behind after all that. Blackout had some issues, but over time it just caught up.
Yeah.
Yo, just came to say thanks to everyone
Yeah.
who participated. Thanks especially to Faulty and Jake, Phoenix, everyone else who helped out. Yeah, I did nothing. I'm just a glorified Oral. Yeah.
So
Weird.
what we've got up next is there's going to be not really anything related to Spyrothon directly, but a bunch of people are going to be doing a bingo race. I think they're just starting out with some normal bingo and then might move into some team stuff after, maybe. I'm not sure what they have in mind, but I love the clown. Clowned. Spyrothon has been clowned. But yeah, Bucci was kind of screwed out of being on the Blackout because stream issues at the time, so we're probably going to just send y'all to her and give her a nice little host to make up for that, so you guys can all watch her and enjoy that race. Probably just let the credits roll out and let them get started before we do that.
Yeah. Go check to see if she's actually live yet.
Yeah, she is.
She is live.
I don't know if they're doing much yet, but she's on the main menu.
Yeah, I told her to just go live straight away. And as always, thanks for watching.
One thing to note is that we will definitely be going through and some of us, or at least somehow we'll get it done tonight, highlighting all of the runs, try and separate them all, get them all into YouTube, because Venom has an account set up for that.
Yeah,
Try and get all
start-
organized real nicely. Probably,
start
I
on YouTube.
don't know if you'll keep the site up. I don't know how that works with hosting
Yeah, we'll
stuff, but
keep the site up.
we'll keep the site up. We'll probably add some links to the YouTube account for it and all that, so everyone can still get to the archive of all the runs.
The Spyrothon YouTube is linked in the channel box. So yeah, please 100 subs get us the
Yes.
channel Spyrothon name, and we kind of want that. So
Because right now it's just a
subscribe.
string of various letters and numbers.
Yeah.
I think we're approaching the end of the credits.
Is that what we were waiting on?
I think so. I don't even know.
Might as well. I mean I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
close
We've
they are.
gone this far already.
Would be a shame.
Yeah, I've got my finger on the host button, so whenever
Oh
you're
no, the froze. Oh, it froze.
Oh no. I mean, better now than in the marathon.
It's true. Oh, it's back. It's back. It's okay.
Oh yeah, PogChamp.
technical difficulties in the last 30 seconds of a marathon.
I know, right?
Yeah. Finish your drink, April
We'll
cake.
just give up at this point. Might as well just scrap the whole thing.
Oh yeah, for all those
Technical
participating in the Spyrothon drinking game, I'm sorry. I'm sure that did not end well, but
Yeah, I wonder-
congratulations if you're still here. Yeah, overall, I am extremely pleased with how this went.
Yeah, Spyrothon 3 was great until the next time someone else steps up.
Yeah,
Major shout outs to Jake again for providing all the graphics and layouts for everything. He made the profile image from scratch, made all the layouts, the bingo layout especially. We were just blown away by how good that looked.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That stuff.
As well as the site banner, everything too. Faulty made the site, so he did all the work on that.
Yeah.
And I learned along the way too. I have some basic web design skills now, so
Awesome. Learning experience for everyone.
yes. We learned by playing
Cool.
Purple Dragon games.
All right, well, there's the credits. Let's just
All
load
right.
up the BRB screen.
The
We're
BRB
not setting
screen.
up for the next run. What am I talking about? That's the wrong image. It's good enough. We're cutting the screen anyway. So yeah, thanks everybody for
Jesus.
watching.
Oh.
Hopefully we'll see you again
And as always,
now, some other time.
yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Time for bingo.